basically live?
They went to doctors, like,
Yeah.
you're basically living.
You're almost there.
You're hanging out.
So much room
A
to
little
do
bit more
activities.
space, yeah.
Hey, yo.
Look at it, yeah. Don't talk about Mokan that way, please.
He's still with us.
No.
he did.
Yeah.
Forever?
When?
They realized that they were shitty parents, so Doug ran away.
They posted it like.
No line, huh?
Oh shit.
Yeah, because they leave the garage open. Poor guy.
Dogs usually when they run, they come back.
Live or not? Where's the link?
Space, yeah.
Hey, yo.
Look at it, yeah.
I don't know if it's dog food.
Posted on,
Bitch better have my money.
So the dog ran away, huh?
did you tweet that they're starting?
Mokan ran away. We're not going to talk about it.
Can you get a
really?
countdown?
Okay.
Okay, countdown.
Count it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're looking live at the new Palatial Studios here in lovely Eastern Montreal, downtown Anjou. Matt Kirak, Mokan here for the first ever show called the Sack Exchange.
That was your idea.
It was my idea.
It was
I
your idea.
figure, hey, two premier rushers in our time connecting to make the Sack Exchange.
Horrible.
Anyway, well, for those who don't know, Matt and I will be doing Div A and Div B for the entire spring into the summer months as we gear up for a fun, eventful season. And we'll dive right into the opening segment here with the opening drive. The first game they'll look at is your Roosters and Donkeys against Montreal's finest, the defending champions in winter and spring season. Well, R&D, quote-unquote, beat up on the finest 32-26. The big storyline, though, Kevin Wyeth, 4 TDs, 3 INTs. Jamal the Kitten Gittins,
Stop calling him the kitten.
because he was purring all the way through. Had a fantastic game. Marco Mastrocchio, great game. The entire defense played well for R&D. In your mind, Matt Kirak, was this an upset in week 1?
I don't think it was an upset. I think it was a matter of time before we got the better of them. It's finally time. First game of the season. Way to start off the season. Is it? Kevin looked a little rattled from his weekend of playing. Just good timing for us.
Well, and for those who are curious to know, right, Kevin Wyeth, of course, was playing the Outdoor Touch Tournament, had played 5 games, came into that game Monday night, his 6th in 3 days, and it was evident his shoulder was bugging him. And people were wondering, is he out for the year? Is he done for the season? Do you think that had a big impact on how that game unfolded for your defense and how well it played?
I don't know. Kevin was walking up there every snap, rotating his shoulder. I think he was kind of selling it a bit, me knowing Kevin, the way that he does things. Kevin usually plays no matter what. He's played with a flash in his eye from welding, with sunglasses on. He's played with a broken thumb.
So you think it was embellishing that little injury?
No, maybe.
Okay, fair enough. If both teams, and look, I think both teams were shorthanded in some retrospect, right, with the rosters.
Yeah.
Man on man, if both teams were full squad, obviously this R&D team is not the D-boys of winter season, and the Finest aren't the same team as before. In your mind, full roster would have been a different game.
Obviously, it would be a different game, but like I said before, it was a matter of time before we got the best of them. It's going to be an up and down battle with us two for the next little while, as far as I can see. I mean, it's a rivalry that just began, so.
Oh, and now it's a rivalry because you guys finally won a game. against
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Now it's a rivalry.
Now it's a rivalry.
Before it was a dismantling, now it's a rivalry.
Is this who you guys won the finals, though?
Absolutely, and it should have been the finals in the winter, but
Well, that's because of late luck of the scheduling
Exactly,
odds, having
exactly.
the 2 teams in the same
But
division.
yes, of course I want this in the finals.
Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Matty Kirak.
That's right.
At Mocon19. Of course,
That's right.
at Flag Plus. Hashtag the word FPF. Don't forget Sportira, our proud sponsor here. Go to Sportira to get yourself some new uniforms for those who are looking for uniforms for the season. All right, game number 2, Legends against Maniacs. Probably the best game, end-to-end action. 41-40 win for the Legends. Corey Packer, 6 TDs. Rafa Balaja, 6 TDs, 180 yards passing here. Sean Haley had 2 TDs. J.R. Verger, 3 TDs. In your mind, going into this season and into this game, did the Legends underestimate themselves and by saying, hey, listen, maybe we're not Div A caliber, but we're Div B, but they showed a lot in game number 1 against a team that's played many, many years in Div A.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, in talking to Corey and the guys at the finals, they didn't really want to go into A. They thought they were going to get beat up on. They picked up a couple guys, Sean Haney, Carmen Police, Alex Papich, too. They picked up.
Alex Papich, that's right.
And you picked up some key
and
guys.
Lovelace as well. Darnell Lovelace.
Darnell Lovelace,
Yeah.
that's right. So you got some key guys there. They could do some damage with that team. And, I mean, Corey Pecker's an athlete. He figures out ways to win all the time. He's been in finals, 3 years in a row now?
He went to last year spring and then this past winter.
Okay,
so
so
he's
2
1-1
years.
in the finals
There we go,
in his
yeah.
career. Let's not forget, no longer on the roster for now is Ryan Lelanowski and Dave Chidiat and Robbie Pecker. So they lose 3 guys, bringing those 4 guys. Is that an upgrade for their roster? Again, factoring all those guys that they brought in have vast FPF experience.
It's different. It's different because you're bringing in Carmen, who's purely football knowledge all the way through. It's going to help them out, which the other guys probably didn't have as much. They obviously didn't. Sean Haney, who's been around the league for a long time, and Papich is an up-and-comer, right? So it's different aspects of their game to bring to the team. So it's
For the Maniacs, will anger management be an issue for them?
no. Over the years, they've calmed down. I remember back in the day, the game would end and it would still be going on. I think they've learned to keep whatever happens on the field. I mean, even JR lost his cool and then he was fine afterwards, right?
And for those who are curious to know, on a 2-point convert, Gerard Verger caught the ball, and Carmen Police gave him what Scott Stevens like hip check. And afterwards, we saw Gerard Verger do a little overhand throw the football at Carmen and got an OC for
Well,
it.
it's nothing new. We've seen that before.
We have. We definitely have. Not the first or last with the
No,
Maniacs.
definitely not.
But in your mind, though, both teams will be competitive. We'll talk more about it in our division preview
absolutely.
here.
Both of them are good, competitive.
Division B here. First game of the year, we'll talk about 6 fast guys win a close one over Darksiders 26-25. Fred Vienne, 4 TDs, and he had 12 incompletions. This guy had the passing completion record of
Div
last year, 81%, whatever it was
Div 4 or
last year.
5, yeah.
Exactly. Fred Morissette, 4 TDs, 149 yards passing, and Anthony Garon, 2 TDs. In your mind, looking at 6 fast guys, will they have more issues playing in a higher division, considering that they've been a dominant force in the lower tier of FPF?
I mean, I don't really want to knock Division B, but it's one of the weaker ones I've seen over the years. I mean, it's a lot of Div 3 guys moving up. Div 3 teams, moving up. He's going to have to step it up. I don't know if he's going to be able to win games throwing 88 yards total.
And for those who are curious to know, he had a
yeah.
lot of sacks. He had 3 sacks that accumulated a lot of lost yards going against the passing total.
It doesn't matter. It's still 88 yards. Even 100 yards, it doesn't matter. You can't win games by throwing 100 yards.
Well, Justin Blanchard, Div A, Div B rider, will be back with the team at some point here. So that adds to their arsenal. But you wonder, though, if they will have difficulty playing in a, I guess, more competitive division in the spring youth season.
We'll see once they play the heavy hitters of the division, Wolverines, who got enough experience to account for all of them combined, I think.
Darkstars, are they a sneaky good team this year?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Does Peasy know that? By the way, Peasy's our executive director here.
I'm just
I
saying
call
it
him Puzzles, but everyone calls him Peasy. Peasy, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, basically, the issue here is Matt Kira doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, anyone who's watched Matt on any of the shows knows that he's completely out of his mind. So I'm not worried. 6 fast guys got lucky. That's all.
They're a little bit faster than you guys.
Everyone's faster than me.
Gotta be good to be lucky there, PZ.
In a foot race against your mom, she would beat me by like a lot.
Thank you very much, Puzzles.
Fast though.
Thanks, Puzzles.
Man.
Okay, which Fred needs to step up this year? Fred Morissette or Fred Vienne?
Fred Vienne.
Really? Fred
Yeah.
Morissette has had he's had some good
No,
statistical
he's on
seasons.
Pisa's team, so no, I don't care.
He's got to play better, though. I think Fred Morissette's got to be the guy this year that has to step up to the plate.
That's your opinion. I think Darksiders are going 1-9.
Some money on it, Matt.
Let's put a prop bet here.
What do you
Okay.
wanna bet?
Not that we would be gambling money on it.
No,
All
but
right.
you could bet,
Here's the bet here. Okay, we'll put the line at 4.5 wins. Over under 4.5 wins. So
I'm
you
going
take-
under.
Okay, so you're going under. You're taking over, which of course you would do. What is the prop bet then? Someone has to buy someone.
Well, no, we can get people who say what the bet should be. How about
All right,
that?
at Matty Kirak, at Moco19, at FPF, hashtag the word FPF, and let us know what the prop bet should be.
It could be there's something, or it could be a humiliation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get Mokan, not Mokan. Yeah, we'll get Mokan either way.
Either way, Mo has to do it.
Dance,
I'm not even
I
involved with
win,
the bets.
you do something. He wins,
Be
you do
quiet.
something.
I'm not doing that.
That's fine. All right.
Let's go into the division preview. So this week we're going to do more of the surveying of the divisions, A and B, the conferences in terms of who's doing what, pros and cons. And let's go into the Division A here. Finest, R&D, Rainmakers, Legends, Gladiators, Maniacs. We'll go pros and cons for each team here. We'll go first with the Maniacs. Pros and cons about that team. We'll go with you, Matt Kurak.
Pro, I would think that, I mean, they're an athletic team. Fantastic, and I think over the years they've calmed their attitude down to an extent that's doable. And I think that Rafa's also calmed himself down in a sense. He runs around but doesn't try to gain yards with his feet. Now he's starting to throw, and he's making those throws.
Okay.
That's a pro.
A con, in my opinion, about this team here is that as great of an athletic team this is, I think Rafa Belaja could be the guy that can have a great game one week and have 3 games in a row that's like, oh my God, why is he the quarterback of this team? So I think that will be the con about the Maniacs, that they might be held back by Belaja. Again, great game week 1 and a losing cause, but can he carry that over in week 2 against you guys and weeks down the road?
As long as he wins when it counts, so just to throw a stat out at you, the last time that the finest lost before us was to the Maniacs.
That's true.
And Rafa was the quarterback.
I'll give you a better stat here.
Here we go.
Oh, no, that's good stats.
Okay.
So the finest, obviously, they lost their opener in the 2011 spring season to the Kings. Didn't win the finals. Didn't go to the finals, pretty much. They lost the opener in winter of 08 to the Engineers in winter season. Didn't win the finals. They lose to you guys. That means it must be an open, right?
Yeah, that's what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
That's
exactly,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Gladiators. I like the team a lot. Frank LeBeau is one of the best quarterbacks that no one talks about as often. The team plays well in the system that they employ on both sides of the football here. Pros and cons on this team.
Wow, I'm going to add the pro, the addition of Mr. Jerome.
Pat Jerome, yes.
Yes, everyone knows who Pat Jerome is.
We got to clarify for those who
Okay,
don't know.
Pat Jerome, that is the biggest pro. LeBeau is a skilled quarterback, and now he has a ridiculous target to throw to. Just look at his stats from the first game. He had 134 yards with 4 TDs.
And
won.
they won 52 to, I believe, 31 against the Rainmakers. So it wasn't even a close game.
It was not close.
They outclassed them.
And they beat a perennial Division I team that's been top tier for how many years now?
Well, we'll get to the Makers very soon here, but what are the cons for the Gladiators this year in terms of their team? I think, personally speaking,
Everything on both sides of the ball.
Legends. We talked about them in our opening segment here. They've moved up every single season since their inception a few years ago. They won spring last year in Division B. They went to the finals last winter, only a month ago, losing as well. The pros and cons. I think the cons for this team is the overhaul of the roster, losing some key guys, high maintenance guys. For a good group of the chemistry,
That's
can
what I was
that
gonna- Chemistry,
develop
absolutely.
early on?
Oh, absolutely. It would be the chemistry, 100%. A pro for them would be that they have nothing to lose. Corey is an athletic guy, and now he's got new targets to throw to. He could just do whatever he wants and see if it works. I think that's going to be a positive thing for them.
I think the one knock on them, con-wise, is they don't have a game breaker on offense anymore. They had Robbie Pecker, Dave Chidiette, and Rod Leonowski. Those guys can stretch the field and make those acrobatic catches. Who from that roster can do that now, given, again, that they don't have that type of player on their 10-man roster?
If I'm going to give it to anybody, I mean, you got a big man who's fast, Sean Haney. Not the
Is he
best hand-
consistent, though? That's the thing.
Not the best hands.
Right.
But, I mean, he can do it. I've been on teams where he has stepped up. I mean, it's up to him.
Rainmakers. This is a team we know very well. As made the point before, a perennial Div 1 team. They've played for many, many years now. I believe now this is their 12th season in FPF history. Same thing about them. They always play very well. They're competitive, but come playoffs, they're just too short.
But the one con, and I've always thought this of them, is they lack intensity. They don't get fired up. They stay kind of monotone the entire time. I've never seen them fired up.
I think that might be because their team is always a new roster every week. You know, the same intensity with the
It's
same
the same
roster.
guys that they rotate in and out, yes, but it's always the same guys.
So you're implying that they need to get more intense then.
Absolutely. They're so soft-spoken. I mean, Ryan and Derek are just like, hey, man, how's it going?
Well, the McGill guys.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter. Get fired up a bit.
A pro about this team is what in your mind?
Kastner, the way he played this winter, he was on fire.
Ryan.
And I think
Yeah.
if he's going to keep that up, they're going to be more dangerous than they were this.
Roosters and Donkeys.
Yeah, well, we put it on Marvin to win big games, I think. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I was really impressed watching Youth People's Finest this past week. I like it on the whole. I'm just excited to see where you guys go from there. You know what I mean? You mentioned that it wasn't really even the D-boys. You're missing sort of Lanny brothers. So can guys from that Clockwork roster step it up to play at this high level? But honestly, I think that you have the athletes that can do it.
I'm not going to knock Marco, my own quarterback. I can't. He played amazing.
Well, week 1 he did.
Week 1, he threw 2 picks and he kept his head in the game, which that's been a problem for him over the years.
Talk to us in week 14, though.
When we're in the finals?
If you guys are in the finals.
No, you said I'll talk to you in week 14 when we're in the finals.
Well, Matt, you're on the podcast, so we'll be talking week 14 nonetheless.
Yeah, it's true.
Point.
He might be on the broadcast of the Road Show.
Take that mic away from him.
He's Puzzles. He's our producer. Don't forget, at Matty Kirak, at MoCon19, at Flag Plus, hashtag the word FPF here at the Sportier Cages in Eastern Montreal, Anjou downtown to be exact. Look, I think for R&D, this is a really good roster, both sides of the football. I like the composition of this team here, the edge, the swagger that this team has. If Jamil Springer does play, it has more of that, I guess, quote-unquote toughness.
Doesn't answer his phone.
Well, he must be rapping, I guess. You know, who knows? I think the only issue that's coming up here is that you look at last spring, you guys lost when in the semifinals to Pat Chenard's team, Chernobyl. That's a surprise and upset in my books. Can that be overcome, the mental hump of winning the close, important games? And I think week 1 probably showed a precursor of what it could be this year.
I think so. I mean, even with the winter season that we just played, we've grown as a group even more than we were.
Right.
Our chemistry-wise, our need to beat the finest, and that intensity that we bring to the finest games, we bring to all the other ones, and it just...
Fair enough. Montreal's finest. Here we go. Pros and cons quickly here. Are they done? This is probably not the strongest
You're
finest
so
team.
dumb. I'm sorry, but... No, I'm not sorry. Come on. It's one game.
I'm going to ask you the question.
No.
They're like the Patriots, right?
They're on their way out. They're not done. How about that?
So they're done.
No.
Yeah, you said they're on their way out.
Yeah, because we're on the way up.
So that means they're done.
No.
Okay, pros and cons with this team then.
Pros and cons. I mean, maybe overconfidence is a con. They think that they're always going to win, and maybe that's why we beat them.
Okay.
They lacked, but you said it best at the game. They lacked intensity.
Well, they definitely
The
did.
tempo was low. We controlled the tempo. That's not like them.
They had no voice.
Especially after 41 wins. I mean, I'm going to quote Wedding Crashers. Rule 76, no excuses. Play like a champion.
They didn't look like a champion on Monday night.
Well, I'm not going to bring up Kevin again. He's going to kill me, but...
Look, I'll give you this quick point before we go to our next question here. This reminds me of how the Patriots were last year. If you recall the NFL, they had a 2-game slump. People were like, are they done? Trade Brady away.
Yeah.
I don't think they're done. I think they're going to be a good competitive team. Is this a strong roster? In years past, you've had stronger units to work with. And I'll bring up the point with Alabama football, right? They were the most untouchable team, dominant force for many, many years. Now you're starting to see the cracks in the Crimson Tide as they move forward. I think we're slowly seeing cracks in the finance armor here. The question is, can they overcome that and become a team to be reckoned with again?
Well, that's it. I think their weekend football tournaments that they play are getting to them.
I'll catch up
with
to them
age.
at some points. Okay, here we go. Quickly here, undefeated teams, yes or no?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say no.
Yeah.
Who, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
What am I going to say? We're going to lose? No.
No, I'll say you guys are going to lose at some point. So, yes, there
On
will be
purpose.
no undefeated teams.
Okay.
How many wins to win the division?
8.
I agree. 8 will be the
I think
number.
eight's the number.
I think whoever has 2+ losses, you're not playing for the first place. You're playing for second or third of that points. Team question here. Could the Legends make their mark in this division, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Division B. Let's go through that right now. Conference A, we got Brocasian, Wolverines, Bearskins, the Commission, Lightweight. Conference B, Monsters, Preds, Six Fast Guys, Darksiders, and Raiders. We'll go with the first conference in A. In your mind right now, who is the favorite in this division?
Wolverines. Based only on experience, you got a lot of Div 3 teams coming up, and Wolverines are going to prey on the inexperience.
They got lucky, though, against Commission on Sunday.
Got to be good to be lucky. Okay.
So the Tony
Listen.
Tibet factor will be, like, look at Commission. They got Zan Simons throwing for them. Lightweight, our boy, Simon Dagenet, who looked awful, by the way.
Don't start. We're not there yet.
Brocasian, they're sort of in flux right now with their quarterback position. Bearskins, I think Neil Ettinson This is a guy that could do well. His team, pardon me, is very good.
Yeah,
So if there's any team that I think that can compete with the Wolverines, I think it's the Bearskins.
agreed. But I think you said that Neil might be the one that holds them back.
I don't know if he holds them back. I just think he needs to step his game up
Yeah.
to match their level
Okay.
of intensity.
Okay. Well, you said what you said.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. Now you're afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid. I'm absolutely afraid here.
Okay.
In your mind, any teams that will go winless in this division, whether it's commission, lightweight,
Winless?
winless, yeah.
No. No. I mean, there's so much parity in this division. Everyone's going to get a win at some point.
Look, I think this is going to be a close division. I think the Wolverines are the best. I agree with you on that. I think Bearskins is a close second, but coming to the last playoff spots, this is going to be a dogfight. I think we're looking at maybe 3-4 wins. That might be enough to get in because of the parity that might be existing in this
Absolutely.
division.
Agreed.
In B, Monstars, Preds, Six Fast Guys, Darksiders, and Raiders. Out of those teams I've listed, what's the favorite team in your mind?
I think 6 Fast Guys, to be honest. I think so.
You
Them
think so?
Or Preds, but
I think Monstars might be sneaky good this year.
I watched them play. I don't know.
The Ray Star War factor, is that why?
Yeah, well, he didn't play. He was their cheerleader, but yeah.
Don't tell him that, huh? I look at this division. Preds, I think, are the best. Six Fast Guys would be up there along with Monsters. I think any of those three, you can move them up and down the
Yeah,
boards.
so, okay. Yeah.
So I think that's a mismatch right there. In terms of Darksiders and Raiders, I think the Raiders right now have a lot more question marks because Leon Holder as quarterback is good, but he's too inconsistent at times, though.
That's it. That's agreed there, too.
Well, we'll find out then. Any team in your mind in the division stands out, whether it's in Conference A or Conference B?
Wolverines. I
All
mean,
the way through.
everyone else is Div 3 coming up, and I think Wolverines are the ones with the most experience, and that's going to go a long way for them.
Over under 4 teams that will be below 500 occupying a playoff spot because this is probably not the strongest Div B I've seen in quite a while. This is like a trial and error.
I'm going to go over.
Really?
I'm going to go over.
So you're saying like about 5 teams then, give or
Yeah.
take.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of teams.
I'm going 5 teams. total.
below 500.
Yeah.
Or 500 or below. Or
500 or below.
below.
Yeah.
It's gonna be close, man. I think 4.5, well, 5 might be enough to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know,
Maybe.
but in your mind, in this group of teams here, do you see anyone moving up into Div 2 next year?
No.
This is essentially working themselves
Well,
out. for
Maybe
Div 3.
Wolverines, depends on how they do this spring, but no.
Well, we'll have to find out then, right?
Yeah.
At Matty Kirak, at Moco19, at Flag Plus, Eagle, at Master Control Puzzles here producing it. And don't forget, Sportira, our proud sponsor. If you need jerseys,
Sure.
go to the Sportira website, our proud sponsor of FPF. All right, Matty, this is your segment here. We changed it up from the top 3 gunners of the week to your what grinds your gears.
No, it's not what it's called. The evening chirp.
Okay, the evening chirp.
It's my chance to chirp people for their mistakes that they
Well,
made.
Eagle is the eagle, so he caws, and that means you chirp.
No, well, there you go. First off, you need to know that if you don't know me, that this is all love. This is just me finding mistakes because that's my job. I'm not going to be Gruden and kiss everyone's ass.
You're basically a jerk, man. You're basically a jerk.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to know that.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. That's
Okay.
fine. And if you do know me, you know it's all love. So here we go.
All right, here we go. The chirp for Matt Kirak from Sportier. Here we go.
I'm going to start it off with my favorite guy to chirp these days, Mr. Mike Harrington, with a beautifully thrown ball into the end zone that he just dropped.
You know he's the receivers coach for Concordia.
That doesn't. Yeah, let's take a video of him catching those balls or not catching those balls. That's why I call him No Hands Harrington. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Number 2,
Yes, number 2.
Simon Dagenet.
He had a terrible game.
Terrible.
Awful.
Who throws 5 picks?
But the incompletions.
Mo
is what-
Khan doesn't even throw
No,
5 picks.
no,
Come
no,
on,
no.
man.
I want you guys focus on your job, okay? Puzzles and Eagle. Enough of your jabbering.
I'm just gonna chirp with you. You gotta be perfect, or I'm gonna get you. That's it. And my third one, it's not even a play. It's just Pease's stance. If you have a chance to watch Pease play football when he's snapping, please look at his stance. I've never seen. I don't even know how he gets up after. He's doing
Please,
his
can you
splits.
demonstrate to us? We have cameras here.
Just come to the games.
You have to go to the games.
Okay,
you
fair
just have
enough
to
then.
see it. It's fantastic.
All right. That's
There you
your
go.
chirp of the week?
That's my evening chirp.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, tell me about it.
at Matty Kirak, or you
Hey.
can put it on the Facebook wall
Or chirp me. I'd love it. Chirp
at
me.
Flag Plus, hashtag the word FPF.
We'll read it.
All right, picks of the week. We got 3 games to look at and our final predictions for Div A and B.
All right.
First game of the docket here, Monstars Predators, 2.5 points for the Preds. This is a potential heavyweight battle within that division.
I'm going Preds over.
And covering the spread.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, cover.
I like the Preds as well.
Yeah.
I do like the Preds a lot. Depending on James Floriani, how healthy he is, though. If he's not healthy, that will hurt them.
It also depends on Aridi. Ryan Aridi.
Yeah.
His health, his hamstring, I don't know.
He hasn't recovered from the last season where he pulled up in the playoffs at some point.
He pulled it up, and, I mean, I don't know if they have another rusher who's...
This is a sack exchange.
still-
You and I are here.
I'm not playing.
Okay.
I got to help Simon Dagenet out, maybe.
Yeah, we should rush him to make him have more
Yeah.
efficient throws. Bearskins Wolverines, another heavyweight battle here. 6.5 points for the Bearskins.
6.5 for
Yeah.
Bearskins.
Yeah.
Okay, Wolverines.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got the Bearskins winning.
You would.
Because 12-point deficit against Commission isn't the same thing against the Bearskins.
I'm going to say that Wolverines D is going to rip Neil apart.
Okay. Big game in Div A. Rainmakers finest, 4.5 points for the finest. Whoever loses goes to 0-2. Not to say they're already out of the playoffs here, but winning first place is going to be a long, long climb up the hill.
I'm sorry to say it, but sorry, Kastner, but we just beat the finest after 41 wins. They're going to destroy everyone in their path for the next couple weeks.
Especially after my comments on Facebook, huh? Are they finished?
Kevin was on you within like 4 minutes.
And within a minute.
That's what you get. Dumb questions.
It's not a dumb question. It's just
Are they done?
Look at the roster.
They played 50 minutes of football. Are they done?
They have Korean Bennett playing both ways. You can't have that happen. Anyway, we'll see this weekend. How about that, okay?
No Hans Harrington, maybe they'd be done.
The
but-
coach, the head coach, Mike
okay.
Harrington. All right, last but not least here, your finals prediction will go Div B first. Who do you have playing and who will win Div B?
I'm going Preds, Wolverines.
Okay, and who wins?
You know what? Preds.
We got, for myself, Bearskins against Predators. And I got the Bearskins
You're on
winning.
the Bearskins nuts.
Yeah, they're going to win this year.
You talk smack about Neil, and then you're... I don't know. I don't get you.
I got the Bearskins winning.
Grow your fro back. That's enough now.
Okay, Div A. Who does the finalists play? Legends?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I thought you were picking the finalists in the Div A final.
Okay, yeah, because that makes sense.
All right, who do you have playing the finals?
Do I have to say it? R&D, my team, versus the finest. That's it. That's all.
How many points you guys win by?
2 touchdowns. I pick Wyeth off when I rush.
Okay.
I've said that every time I played him. I've never done it. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I have you guys in the finals. I do have the finals in the finals, and I have you guys winning by 3 points.
Thank you. Finally.
Not really. What did you learn in today's episode?
You have Burberry glasses on, and I don't care how much you paid for them.
Okay, fair
You
enough.
tried telling me.
I learned that you have a tattoo on your forearm. I had no idea. It's actually written upside down.
I'm not going to explain to you why.
Okay.
You won't get it.
No, I won't. I won't. PZ or Puzzles, what did you learn in today's episode?
I learned that I can completely tune you out for a good half hour at a time.
Okay, perfect. Eagle, what did you learn in today's episode?
I learned that I have a microphone.
That's true. Usually you write it on the computer. I usually read what you write, and I look like a fool reading it. Coming up next is Super Bros show coming up here. Super Flag Bros. Super Flag Bros.
Flag Bros.
Super Flag Bros coming up with PZ and DZ here at Sportier Case. Episode 1 complete for Div A and Div B. The Sack Exchange will be back next Thursday. And we hope you have a good week. Week 2 upon us. Good morning, South Korea.
Peace.
This is about as loud as I'm going to speak, Eagle. So the right mic.
Mic check. Mic check.
Well, and bitch better have my mic.
Test, test, test. I can hear myself. Can you go? Test.
Yogurt is
Go
terrible.
as in
It's a
start the
waste
show?
of time.
I can hear these guys.
Mo,
I can hear them.
You can hear me?
I can hear PZ.
Can you hear the words I'm saying, Mocha?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Welcome everyone to Super Flag Bros, and I was rushed in with perhaps the worst counting ever given to a show. Of course, that counting was done by the Eagle at Master Control, our tech wizard, and also notable wizard dresser, as he often goes in public dressed as a wizard.
Right.
You can follow him and tweet the show live at Eagle FPF. I am joined in studio with my partner in crime, Deez Delariz. You can follow him at Dave's Republic. Deez, how are you doing?
Not bad, man. I'm surrounded by cages. I love it.
Yeah, we're in our
open
new
air.
home, of course, at the Sportira cage, as Mokan said, in downtown, eastern, central, northern, down under Anjou, Montreal. Of course, you can follow the league at Flag Plus. Remember to hashtag FPF. We will have a dirty prop bet at some point, and we'll be looking for your input. We are also produced at the moment by the slowest producer of all time, Slow Khan himself. Slow Khan doing what he can. He can't get my name right. He thinks my name is Puzzles. Of course, if I do have an animal at some point, perhaps a cockatiel.
This is already this is going off the edge.
Absolutely, right away. I will call it Puzzles. But let's get into it. Let's bring the show back into the cage, since we're at the Sportera cage. Let's talk about some of the action we saw this week. But before that, I want to introduce who you are.
Right.
So,
I want to introduce who you are.
yeah, go ahead. Who am I?
Who are you?
That's enough. These Del Rees, of course, David Del Rocca. He is the Super Flag Bro. He's my brother in real life and in pretend life as well.
Yeah.
It also works as a pickup line to help Eagle pick up 3 Mexican transvestites.
So I've been playing in the league for quite some time.
Yeah, you're
I've been-
defensive player for the most part.
Yep.
Mostly
I played
because
for
you
about 5 or
can't
6
catch,
years. Yep. Nope.
but you defend quite well.
Yeah, thanks.
Good deflagger as well.
I'm,
You started.
I'm impeccable at getting injured every season.
Yeah, it's your old age catching up to you, of
Great,
course.
great stuff.
You started with myself in the team Punch Panda.
I think I've always played for your teams, except for maybe two or three seasons.
Yeah, for the most part, we've played together. Punch Panda was our first team. I bring that up because we will make reference to it.
A lot.
When one of your teams inevitably sucks,
Yeah.
we will make you feel better by saying, don't worry, we played for the worst team of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
That team was called.
Punch Panda.
There we go. Right now, where are you playing for?
Right now, I'm playing for Team Darksiders in Division B. Pretty great team. Probably going to win a championship or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6
7.
or 7.
Probably not.
And the thing is that it's interesting playing in a higher division. We've kind of seen we've gone through all of the stages and all the growing pains. We started off in Division E, Division 6, no, Division 5 actually. But when
Division
we
5.
came in-
There was no Division E
there
or
was no
6 at the
Division
time.
E or 6. And I think that what we always liked about it, we always discuss what we like about Division E is that it's not only just a beginners league, but it's kind of like a league to kind of get you started. It's kind of like a progression. It shows you what's in store for this league, you know. And what's great about Division E is you can make a team with your friends and not have to worry or stress too much.
No, for sure. And I mean, what's interesting is when we started, it was Div 5, and it was Div 5, and it was in the springtime. We're Div D.
Yeah.
Now, starting in the springtime is difficult because a lot of the fluff teams don't register,
Right.
and which remains is the pure flag team. So
Yeah.
you have very competitive action. So for new teams, don't get discouraged. It's a great learning experience. But I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because we have 14 weeks ahead of us to talk
Amazing.
about new teams, old teams, and so on and so forth. But let's talk about some of the action from this week. Flight of the Conchords, one of the familiar faces taking on Smash Bros, which are a new configuration of familiar faces. Flight of the Conchords, FOTC, win at 45-32. Officially, it is the last time I call you Flight of the Conchords for the rest of the season. You will be FOTC.
I never knew that was actually what the.
Oh, but they had a bunch of different. Last season, they were fans of the Cougars and so on and so forth.
Right. Well, from what we saw, they seem like they're going to be a pretty strong team throughout the season. I mean,
Look, the trial is still out.
we still have to see what's in store. But from what we saw and what we heard, they look like they're pretty solid to start off. You know what the thing too is, it's an underrated fact is, winning your first week in a league really, really goes a long way. You know, and I mean, I've played seasons where you lose, where your first game, winning it really gives you a lot of confidence going into it. You get an immediate chemistry boost.
Well, it's in Gilman, quarterback of FOTC, threw 5 touchdowns in that win. Are FOTC the front runner coming in your opinion?
Not really. I think we'll get into some of the other
We'll get into some of the other teams in a second. But right now, at the moment, I'm trying to get used to this microphone.
Yeah, it's a different setup. For of course,
We should call this show Growing Pains.
as we mentioned, this is our new home. We're having some equipment issues as well. Remember, we're at the Sportira cage, where if you need to get your jersey, Sportira is the official supplier of FPF uniforms. They do some wonderful stuff, including many jerseys designed by my fellow podcast host, Deez Delariz.
That's right.
So hit him up for some graphic work. Hit up Sportira for jersey work. Jersey work, of course, not to be confused with cleaning sidewalks in New Jersey.
I take tacos. I take
for
tacos
the Smash
payment.
Bros, we saw Jonah Cohen. He's definitely learned a lot from his quarterback in higher divisions from the Game Changers.
Right.
He's played with Anton Sakis, a known quarterback in this division, in this league. Jonah Cohen throwing 4 touchdowns in his first game. He actually texted me saying, "Hey, Pease, you got to come check out my first game. I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, I have a Latin girlfriend who will cut me if
Yes,
I'm not home
absolutely.
once in a while."
She texts me once in a while and says, "I'm going to cut him if he's late."
Pretty much. But 4 TDs in the first game ever. What do you think? Is this just sort of like beginner's luck, or do you think Jonah
No,
good
I don't.
chops?
I don't think it's beginner's luck. I think it's like what you said, where there's a level of experience that you get working and playing within different systems. Playing in higher divisions with great team game changers. Listen, I witnessed firsthand what it's like to charge into the playoffs against Game Changers. First round, got destroyed. I think 49-7.
Not
or
fun,
something.
right?
Not fun. But the main thing is, it's also a system that they have. It's a very effective system. And if Cohen's gonna apply that going throughout the season, it's interesting to see them and interesting to see where they're gonna be.
For FOTC,
Yeah.
looking like Superman first week, scoring 45 points. What is their kryptonite?
Hard to tell at this moment what the kryptonite is after one week.
Is it actual kryptonite?
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Great stuff. Growing pains.
Growing pains.
Okay, so next question.
Next question. All right, cool. Instead of the next question, let's talk about the next game. 'Cause
Next game.
Our executive producer, Slow Khan, is telling us we got to speed things up a little bit. Redmen taking on No Name. I was there for this game. I saw them win this one 16-13. John Papadimitriou of Park X Streets fame looked decent in his first game of quarterback. Not great stats. He threw a couple of touchdowns, but got into the end zone when it counted.
I kind of see these two teams as being two middle-of-the-pack teams. Now, I don't want to judge too much based off one game, obviously, but I don't think a team can win being called No Name. I can't do it. I get it. It's clever. Sean Collins is going to probably rip me for making fun of his team, but I can't get into the name. I can't get into
That's
the name.
fair.
Gentlemen, we have a comment from the Eagle. Eagle?
Yeah, I was watching that game, actually. It was actually a really exciting game. It came down to basically the last drive where Redmond scored, and then at that point, No Name took the ball and got stopped on an interception that was going for a touchdown otherwise. So really close game, came down to a wire. And Sean Collins with the very rare 40 bomb to get a nice 6 points
Yeah,
on the board.
Sean, and it was a nice catch, too. Sean had to adjust. It was over his shoulder. Nice grab by Sean. Good to see him developing. But No Name defense was what I want to talk about. They looked strong, very organized, just a smart defense
Right,
overall.
Yeah.
Do you think this will be enough, or will they need more offensive output going forward to keep them in games?
I think so, and I think it's mainly because, and we've talked about this in previous seasons about how like you're going to need about 4 to 5 touchdowns a game in order to be dominant, in order to dominate your opposition. I think that just in general, like we do want to see more production out of a team, and I think that's what we might need. Is there any more prognosis from the producer, or is that all he has for us?
Eagle's shaking his head
Nothing else?
and calling his
Right.
way.
Well, no,
through the
honestly,
nest.
I was there watching it with Eagle. It was an exciting game overall. One of the things that was most interesting to me was at one point the no-name snapper, who will remain nameless because I don't know the guy's name.
No name.
But I will know it at some point, and we'll get some reference
Gonna get some
material.
snap liver.
Absolutely. No, he's going to get some hate because he walked off. Just decided to leave the game right towards the end. No Name had to shift the team around a little bit in
Maybe
his
it was an
absence.
injury. You know that?
I don't know what happened. All I know is Stitch better have my money. In that case, dude. But like, even if you're injured, you should be on the sidelines with your team. Don't take off.
You just left the stadium.
No, but honestly, like, yeah, like even Captain Sean Collins didn't know where he was, didn't know why he left the game, and was not clear.
Maybe he had to take a leak.
Eagle said, does he? No, Mo asked if he has a Twitter handle. If he does, he can tweet us at Eagle FPF, and Eagle will get us the info. If not, you can tweet me to show me some hate at Peas FPF. Mo, what's up?
I was going to say, you know, if you recall last year, we were trying to figure out who the mystery Twitter guy was for one of the teams in winter season. Maybe he's a mystery guy.
Could be the mystery guy. Could be our mystery stalker. We do have some stalkers, so I wouldn't be surprised if we acquired another.
Mocon has to be the only guy I know that wears a championship T-shirt just out in
He wants
public.
he wants people to know he was a
Like,
champion.
do you do that? Do you just generally wear a championship T-shirt just so everyone knows you won a championship? Does he ever win championship?
FYI, two-time Div 1 champion.
Okay.
Two time.
Two time.
Mic drop.
So you should wear 2 T-shirts at the same
I
time.
promise you, he was the most relevant player on that Montreal's finest roster. So happy the Tigers win it 36-25 against Big Blue Wrecking Crew. I'm happy that the Tigers have changed the spelling of their name and no longer wreck my spell check by putting a Z at the end of their name. However, on the other side of the ball, we see Sergio Sicoli starting a quarterback, a former teammate of ours, now starting for Big Blue Wrecking Crew, taking matters into his own hands. Tigers were an underrated team from last season.
Yeah, we didn't expect them. We really didn't expect them to get really far into the playoffs.
And they went into the playoffs and won a playoff game. However,
Yeah.
lost to end up acquiring a loss to the then part of my swag because they had an illegal roster at the time.
And to this day, that still puzzles me that happened. You know, and I guess look, they're gonna have to learn from their mistakes because it's such a shame because they had a clear shot at making the championship final. But I know Mo wants to come in here for a second.
I got a lot of love for Sergio, but I don't know if I could trust my quarterback at this point. Like it.
And the thing is, we've seen him play. I think he could be effective. I guess if there ever was division to test out your moxie at a
That's what we
quarterback,
do, right?
it would have to be there.
Yeah,
Be in
absolutely.
Division D.
Go ahead, Mo.
By the way, the Tigers have new uniforms. It is a nice sea blue color that they have going on from this year.
I wouldn't have picked blue for a team called Tigers, but I like it. Go with it. It's
As
bold.
does Big Blue Wrecking Crew. They have a nice mix of a black with blue trim.
I
That was
designed that one.
designed by at Dave's Republic.
That's right.
So if you're looking for jersey designs, hit up D's at Dave's Republic.
I gotta say, I love the setup. I like the fact that we're getting input from our producers.
Yeah, right?
It really makes it seem professional for once.
There was somebody in the FPF media team who thought that'd be a great idea.
Who?
He'll remain nameless at this table. You talk about Sergio. He had a very mixed game. Throwing 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
What's your over under throughout this for?
I think he'll have very Peas-like numbers.
Right, yeah.
I think it is a learning curve, especially for a guy who's not a natural athlete, a guy whose stature
What are you
is.
trying to say? What are you trying to say here?
Is Sergio and I like our burgers. We like our beers.
We do.
We often like them together.
We do all at the same time.
And as such, we don't have particularly athletic builds. That being said, Sergio is deceptively athletic.
Yeah, he is.
So I will give him that, and he's a very smart player. So I'd like to see how he
But
develops.
it really is a trial by fire. If there was a team you don't want to play against your first game as a quarterback, first game of the season is going to be Tigers. You
He
just don't
messaged me.
want
He said, I can't believe I basically my first game played against 7 really athletic dudes.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
they're very athletic, very
Absolutely.
athletic.
And we saw Regav Mohan put on lots of pressure, put 3 sacks and, like we said, 4 picks.
He
So
still managed to throw 4 touchdowns, so that's
true.
kind of impressive nonetheless.
is Regav Mohan the centerpiece of this defense? So getting those 3 sacks
Oh,
and forcing those
absolutely.
interceptions.
But that's the centerpiece of most defenses in the lower division. Like if you have a really effective rusher, especially playing against inexperienced quarterbacks, it's incredible where your defense can go with that. You know,
Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure because the thing is they have very athletic guys, so they want you to be nervous throwing the ball up in the air because they know they're going to get up there. Because the thing about Big Blue Wrecking Crew, I don't want to hate on them too much, but they're kind of lacking the athleticism, the overall athleticism, to kind of make the next step.
Well, with the exception of a couple guys like Reno Nappy, very good
But
receiver.
he's a good receiver, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to
Not explosive
jump
necessarily.
somebody. He doesn't have
That's fair. This is the part of the show where we would be listening to the sweet sounds of Phil Collins, but because we're not going to break, I want to hear your best Phil Collins impression. You could just do the drums. You could just do it.
But wait, because I think I can't remember any of his
From
songs.
In the Air Tonight, you can't do the drums?
I can feel it
Close enough. All right, that was the musical stylings of Diesel Ruiz. Let's do a breakdown of Conference A. Let's look at each of the teams. I'll give you sort of a little bit of background as to who they are. You tell me what you think about them and what you think of that team. So we have the Redmen. Redmen are featuring.
Let's keep in mind that it's only 1 week.
Well,
There's
yeah,
very little
of course.
prognosis we can make on these
Nothing
teams.
we are saying now will be held to at the end of the season because no one will remember.
The five viewers that we have right now will not remember.
They won't remember.
Nah.
The ones who do remember, we will dismiss as being crazy for remembering after
Right.
14 weeks. And let's face it, it's based on very little information, as are most of our podcasts.
Look, it's not our fault. We're going up against the Golden State Warriors right now. It's not our fault that our ratings are low.
yeah, I'm barely even listening to you. I'm watching the game in the background.
No, it's right. It's right.
We have
Division
Eagle
A.
tripping in.
We actually have 9 viewers right
9
now.
viewers, so
9
it's more than
viewers.
the 5 you thought. It's double what you thought.
It's all the ads I've been putting out there.
Absolutely, which excellent by the way.
Thanks.
The Redmen looking pretty good in their first week. Not quite excellent just yet, but John Papademetriou at quarterback. They also have Zach Zwern, who's a reputable, especially on the defensive side of the ball, reputable player in FPF, as well as Angelo Murata making his presence felt in week 1. But other than that, it's a team of guys who are generally rookies. What do you think about this team?
Do
You
they
said
wear red jerseys, Mokan?
they do
We
have
wear
red jerseys.
That's correct.
All right. They're my favorites.
Not as nice as they could be. Of course, not designed at
Dave's Republic.
At Dave's Republic, and not produced by Sportira. Of course, Redmond, if you want to step up your jersey game, you can do so at Sportira. And remember, we're live at Sportira Cage.
That's excellent.
Excellent job.
Right? It's almost like Mo and I know what we're doing.
Do we have 10 viewers yet?
Do we have 10 viewers yet? Or is
This should be by
still
now.
We have 10 viewers yet?
It's almost like you're making a Michael Bay movie.
Are we
Exactly.
At 10 viewers yet?
Are we at 10 viewers yet?
Stay tuned after
No.
the break for that.
No,
number.
9 viewers.
So,
Yes.
that being said,
Where do I see them?
you said they would be a middle of the pack team.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I don't know anything about them.
Not yet, at least. No, but I guess we'll find out. But I mean, it has more to do with the inexperience of the team in general. I kind of see like there's a lot of teams in Division E at this point with experience, with previous FPF experience, and I think I kind of foresee that. Like that's why right now I'm going to put them towards the middle of the pack because I want to know more about them and I want to see what
Fair.
they can produce.
Birds of a feather flock together, and a bird that is not an eagle, and therefore he was not invited to play on the team as the Falcons, otherwise known as KGP Light. They come into the season without Phil Cutler, who's obviously a big piece, but they wouldn't fit the
No,
cap,
no way.
obviously, in
No
Division
way.
E.
It would
But
bust the cap right
what
away.
do you think of this team without Phil
But
Cutler?
they at the moment going in without any concrete knowledge of performance on any of these teams, I feel like they could be the favorite. They could, mainly because of the type of team that they have, physical, big guys, have a lot of experience. They don't have Cutler, but I think they've played with him long enough to grab a couple of things from him, knowledge-wise. And we're going to cut to Eagles right behind me very awkwardly.
Yeah, we have a live tweet in from Andel Thomas Gordon, at Andel TG 12X11 if it matters. At Ego FPF, I'm one of the 9 viewers. I just want to find out why Mokan is still following Aaron Hernandez.
That's an excellent
I
question.
didn't hear that because he goes far from
No,
me.
because
Mokan, we discovered this week, very, very strange. He has been following Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez showed up in court today with a new brand new tattoo. Are you a tattoo artist, Mokan?
I am not a tattoo artist, but your Twitter handles, my friend, for those who want to tweet at you guys.
Of course, and if you... Well, what is your Twitter handle again? Remind the good people.
At Mocon19.
At Aaron Hernandez.
At Mohan19. Otherwise, and his alternate handle, of course, is at Aaron Hernandez Lover. You can follow me at PeasFPF, and they can follow you home or at Dave's Republic. And, of
that's
course,
right.
if you want to tweet the show live, just like our loyal listener did as well, you can tweet us at EagleFPF. TDs and beer. What can you say? They have perhaps the best player
I can
in the
see
division.
that's my second favorite team name in Division E.
I agree. They also have perhaps the best player in the division, Isaiah Allard. With
Why do you say that though?
Because he can rush. He's an amazing defensive player. We saw him play in Division C and do exceptionally well. A very good receiver. Can stretch the
Can we
field
get his rating up? Rating.
high.
Producer.
What I would imagine.
Producer, I want
Actually,
numbers.
he's our tech guy. He's our new producer. Who's going to get the numbers.
7 minutes left.
That's not a rating. I need ratings.
yeah. But yeah. So what would you say about this team with Brad Evans at quarterback and Isaiah Allard?
I think that this is mainly going to give Brad Evans a chance to kind of redeem himself from previous season. I can see them being a very good team, and once again, going back to what I was saying, having an experienced quarterback definitely puts you ahead of the pack. So Yeah, I'm gonna say top 5 team in Division E.
Isaiah Large, 77.2 on offense, 75.8 on defense.
Yeah,
That's what
he's,
I
he's,
thought, that's
a,
what I
he's a
thought.
solid Div C player.
I
basically.
thought it was gonna be 75.9.
Obviously,
But,
obviously.
you know, I was right.
Tigers, we talked about them a little bit. So just quickly, they
Yeah.
were 4-6 last season. They were underrated. In my opinion, they look even better. What are your
They
thoughts?
look even better. I'm gonna say top 3 team.
Fair. Fuzzy Kittens. I don't know a lot
I
about
don't
them.
know
They
much
did
about
win.
them. But
first
we'll
week.
make it a point to watch them.
We
and get
will.
more. Yeah.
We will. Honestly, Fuzzy Kittens, overall a new team. Congratulations on your first one.
Mokan, color jersey.
I've yet to see the Fuzzy Kittens play, but I'll give you a jersey recap next Thursday.
Right. Thanks.
Awesome. We'll all take a closer look at them, and we'll break them down a little bit next week as well. Looney Goons have a lot of new players and look slow offensively, but their defense look good, only giving up 15 points. Is defense enough to win games in FPF?
Not necessarily. Not an FPF. Unfortunately, and being a defensive player, I would love to say that it's a defensive game, but it's really not. You got to score touchdowns.
Fair. Sean Collins got on the recruiting path. He picked up Robert White, Evan Eli Nolet, and Jesse Racine gives quarterbacking a chance. Do you think Sean Collins has built a winner with this group?
I'm confused about this. Who is the quarterback?
Jesse Racine.
And it was Sean Collins who caught a 40-yard bomb? Is that what we
Yes.
said before?
Over his shoulder. Nice catch.
Yeah, he's a very, very decent receiver. I think in general, and maybe I'm just hating on the logo and the name, but no, I think they'll be decent. They'll be decent. We'll have to
Sounds
see.
good. Smoke and Axel. Now with Jason Rossi at quarterback. They also had Scott Binns and Chris Olsen on the team as well, so they have a wealth of experience.
They do.
I think this is a very good roster for this team. Any thoughts? Eagle, let's get your thoughts on this one.
We have a tweet in from Sergio Sicoli at Ser Sicoli. At Eagle FPF, Reno Nappy will be contender for receiver of the year, and as for myself, I can only guarantee finishing with better numbers than Pease did.
So I'm actually going to.
I like that. I like that, Sergio. I like the
think we
challenge.
should make
Remember
that
that
bet.
I would have had better numbers if you would have caught more passes. That's another thing I want to touch on. We just mentioned Smoke and Axles with those players.
Jason
What do you
Rossi,
think? Jason
Scott
Rossi.
Binns, Jag Olsen. Having played against this team in multiple times with my own team and with your teams, I'm going to say I think that Jason Rossi can be a fantastic quarterback. Not only, and he's not necessarily the best passer, but he's very, very effective running around. And I think that, and also I find Scott Binns is such an underrated player.
Absolutely.
Underrated player.
He ran me over one season.
Right.
If you look at the two of us, you would never think that Scott Binns would be able to run me over.
No, but he's
he
a
ran right through
very
me.
savvy team. So I'd be interesting to see what they can do this season. But I have a lot of faith in them.
The Fat and the Furious, perhaps my favorite
The
name.
best team name.
They scored a lot of points in the first week. This is uncommon for new teams. Are they a potential sleeper?
It could be like the Tigers last season where we kind of underrated them, and we learned our lesson. You know, we got to pay more attention to teams like that. So we'll this is one of the teams that we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to.
One-man show. Will they be inconsistent as they were as wax on, wax off, or was it just the booze this week?
I'm going to say it's both. Definitely got to work on the consistency aspect of it. I think coming off of a bad loss in the finals last year, you really got to shake the dust off, and I think that this is their opportunity. You know, but
Most people would say you gotta
different,
shake the
though?
rust
Why,
off.
what did they do? Why did they change the name?
Well, because sometimes it just helps. Sometimes you want to order cool new jerseys from
Yeah, right.
Sportira, of course.
Designed by Dave's Republic.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can get them designed at Dave's Republic by my co-host Deez Delaries. So, final thoughts before we cut out. Remember, of course, if you're watching the whole gambit of shows, up next is perhaps the poorest named podcast of all time. You'll Never Walk Alone with Mokan and Terry Tam. That is the Division C podcast.
Are we no longer doing Science Hour with Duke?
We're no longer doing Science Hour with Duke for now, but we will have a montage of sorts coming soon. So, final thoughts?
Final thought. Number one, show up to your games early. Don't show up last second. Secondly, there's photo day next week. Show up even earlier, specifically to do the photos.
So that was my Thursday lesson plan.
Was it really?
Thank you for reading the script. So Thursday lesson plan, of course, look your finest. Remember, we get 2 million clicks on our website. Those are all people that could be seeing your picture, and most of them are men. So remember, everyone, we'll be with you next Thursday. If you want to follow us, you can follow Deez at Dave's Republic. You can follow Eagle at Eagle FPF. Our producer, Mokan at Mokan19. And remember to visit the Sportira site to get your jerseys. We are live in the Sportira cage, and we will be next Thursday. Till then, I am Peas. Follow me at Peas FPF.
At Hernandez Lover.
Raheem Sterling, you can go to hell.
Big time go to hell. Screw you.
Welcome to You Never Walk Alone. You know, when the dinosaurs went extinct, the alligator was the one that survived the whole catastrophe, right? The big boom.
Are you sick?
No.
No?
We survived
We survived.
the winter season. You'll Never Walk Alone, part 2. We're here at the lovely Sportier Cages in Eastern downtown Anjou. Terry Tam Ocon, our new producer, Puzzles, a.k.a. PZ.
Puzzles. That's a good one.
And Eagle, who is now
Brought to you by
man-
the creative genius who brought you the worst podcast name in the history of all time.
Be quiet, Puzz.
hater. The puzzles.
Sit over there, Puzz.
All right, and GM hovering around as he gets ready for his podcast here. We're covering Div C this spring, summer, as we look forward to going wall to wall with this division. Probably maybe the most competitive division that we have in terms of the talent that we have from top to bottom here. The biggest of the 5, if not one of the
It's
biggest.
actually good this year because Peace isn't playing in this division.
That means the talent level is definitely
little
ascended a little bit higher than before. Let's dive right into it here, Terry Tam. Let's go with the opening drive here. Preds led, squeaking by Game Changers 28-26. 2 key storylines, though. James Floriani banged up. Terrence Dobson banged up.
Huge storylines.
Simon Bosquet Baudet, SBB. We have SCC for Simon Charbonneau Campo. We have
SBB.
SBB now from here on in. 3 TDs. Anton Sakis had 3 TDs, 150 yards passing. In your mind, the game changes to lose to a Floriani-less team. Is that a bad sign for them?
Not a bad sign. I mean, just because Floriani's not there. SBB just won Quarterback of the Year in Division 5 in the winter, and he uses his feet very well. He's a good quarterback. He's really not someone to shy away from. Game changers, they've all, the last couple seasons you've seen, they're missing something. They're missing that X factor, especially Terrence Dobson being their X factor.
He got
normally.
hurt, though, in his other game before
Exactly,
this game.
yeah, so he couldn't play. So, I mean, it sucks that you take those. And the fact they only lost by 2 points to a very good Preds light team, I guess you want to call it, then I'm not too shocked. And I'm not too worried about the game changes for them.
Puzzles, you want to chime in? You have the mic
Jacob
right
Burnett, too, is on the team. and
Well,
Jacob
that's it.
Burnett's a
It's
beast.
I was going to mention the injuries to James Floriani and Terrence Dobson. I don't think it's very reflective of what both these teams will
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
Dobson's out with a hamstring injury. We don't know how long that'll be. And Floriani's out with a groin injury, which is the most harmful to one's sex life, of course.
Yeah, of course.
You know what? I think Floriani's got to wear different cleats. He wears those running shoes on turf.
He always tears something.
Yeah, he always
He's always
does.
tearing something.
As for Dobbs, it's been a tough calendar year for him. He hasn't played a full year, knows how many years, but we'll see if he's healthy enough.
Whatever. All it means is less complaining on the field.
You made the point before SBB winning quarterback of the year in Div 5, playing in a, I guess, higher division in terms of the competition.
But
Could this-
a lot of these players. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, just to expand on your point, though.
A lot of these players, a lot of the players in Division 5 are playing in Division C.
So is this really a breakout year for him, or is this going to be a carryover from the winter into spring season?
Well, he won't be playing quarterback, right? Is he?
Well, depending on what Floriani
Depending
does,
what
right?
happens with Floriani, he won't be playing quarterback. If he does, it could be a huge breakout season, and he might say, "Hey, I just want to play quarterback," and bring his team up.
Oh, and breaking news
Inside
from
info
we got breaking news here
from
from,
the BFF of-
GM Clarethris. GM Clarethris has this put on the whiteboard. Ryan Reedy may join Game Changers as of this week. Now, if he does, that is a game changer indeed, provided
big
he's
time.
healthy, because he's been banged up himself, lower body issues, pulled hamstrings.
Ryan always has something going on, but he always fights through it. He's a tough kid.
Well, we'll find out though. Terrence Dobson, we mentioned him before. You think he'll ever rekindle his dominance that he had 2 years ago when he came in with the Changers back in winter of 2014? It was.
Winter 2014, they came in. Terrence Dobson was awesome when he had 6 picks in the playoffs. They can't rely on Terrence Dobson. Anton Sakis is an awesome quarterback, phenomenal. One of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Probably overall, maybe my second quarterback I've ever played with. The only thing is, you need another X factor on your team. And Terrence Dobson being out, you can't just rely on Anton, because defenses are very smart and they're very constructive, and they're going to be able to figure him out eventually.
GNR outclassed the Brotherhood 33-25. Vinny Galano 6 TDs. Jamie Harry 4 TDs, 1 INT. Sean Avram had 2 TDs. Coming into we'll talk about more of Div C, of terms of teams and whatnot here. Is GNR the best team coming into this season?
It's tough. I mean, it's tough. I have a few other teams that I like, but GNR, their record speaks for themselves, right? They're not flashy. They don't have a lot of breakout players. Vinny Guilano just gets it done. Guilano! Vinny G gets it done, and I think they can be the best team in this division for sure. But I don't know. I wouldn't give it to them hands down.
By the way, you can tweet us at Terry FPF, at MoCon19, at Flag Plus, hashtag the word FPF.
Terry Tam FPF. Good job.
Terry Tam FPF. Jamie Harry
Quan job.
had a good game, like for a guy who hasn't played this position in FPF ever. But is he the solution for the QB position for Brotherhood? Considering, again, Brotherhood had Gianni Santino, who had to leave last year abruptly, and they've had some good talent to work with.
Yeah, Jamal Giddens brought them to the finals in the spring last year in Division
Lost to
D.
that short guy, Brent Calendar's team,
Yeah,
TCO.
whatever. Losers. Winners.
He's put on some weight, Brent Calendar.
Yeah, he's pretty tick.
Yeah, he put on some weight. Oof.
Tick. Jamal brought them there. But Jamal, you can use him. I mean, he's better off as a receiver. Like, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's very athletic. He's not very predictable, but you could use him as a quarterback.
Jamie Harry, the backup quarterback for TMT in Division II. That is true. That's not a good thing.
No.
No, it's not.
Carry
on.
So, like I was saying, Jamal Giddens being the quarterback before, you have to say that they needed somebody to take the reins. Jamie Harry could be a good quarterback. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him play his position here. But going 4 TDs against GNR, who are a very dominant team, I'm pleased to see that.
No fly hammers. The Hitman Retro 32-12. Corey Woloski, 4 TDs, 170 yards passing.
That's a tongue twister, huh?
It is. Chris Mufraj, 2 TDs, 3 INT. Steve Shanner, our boy from 90210, had 3 TDs. No fly zone. Or Gators. Similar rosters had they found their quarterback who's going to be much more dominant.
I just want to say something.
Yes.
Why would you not call this team the Latin Hustle? I have no idea.
I don't know how many Latin players
Doesn't matter. You have one. You have the Latin Hustle on your team. Anyway.
But yeah, so they found their quarterback, though.
Yeah, I think they found their quarterback, Woloski. I mean, they were very confident in him. I'm not confident in Woloski because I played against him. I've seen him play with Toon Squad, and I was not impressed. But he does have a lot of good weapons on his side this season.
Well, Mr. 90210 going to receiver definitely makes him a lot more dangerous. So I think
Sanders not that great of a quarterback. I mean, he gets along. He understands his offense well. He understands his weaknesses and his strengths, and he takes advantage of them very well. Having a guy like Eddie Martinez and Matt Bashar on this team helps you a lot. And I find that Woloski playing before with, I don't think he had a really good team, a receiving core.
Right.
Now he does. Maybe it'll help him out. 4 touchdowns against Hitman Retro.
Surprised that the Retro were outclassed by this fashion.
I'm not surprised. Div C isn't where old guys come to play, and that's pretty much what it is. I mean, there are a lot of older guys, and they're all good players. 2 Hall of Famers on the team. You can't knock them for that. But they're not. I don't think they're going to be able to live up to and play against these young players.
At Terry FPF, at MoCon19, you can tweet us.
Tam FPF.
Terry Tam.
You have Juan Job.
Yeah, Terry Tam FPF, MoCon19. At Flag Plus as well, hashtag the word FPF for your questions on Twitter.
Yeah.
And also on the Facebook group as well for Flag Plus. Let's go division by division preview here. First and foremost, looking at the 4 divisions, did they get the teams in the correct divisions going into the season?
There's one division I find that's a little weaker than others, but for the most part, yes, I think they do. I think that Conference A West is it's even, but it's very weak. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot stronger teams in other divisions that could have been spread out even.
Right. Let's go into Conference A. We'll go East Division first. Laval's finest, 2.5 Dans, who big win over Zoo, by the way. Cream Team losing a close one, and of course you have the Zoo and Pats as well.
Yeah.
Let's look at this division here. Bottom to top, in your mind right now, who are the bottom feeders of this division?
Bottom feeders of this division, I'm going Pats for sure, and then it's a toss-up between Cream and Zoo. I think that 2.5 Dans and the Punisher will either take that second or third spot, only because they grind out games, and I don't know if the Zoo or Cream Team have the ability to do that. They're very talented, both teams. Don't get me wrong. Carl Lavallee, Jared Humphrey, Matt Monat, Libby Savage. Am I right?
No. The Monat boys are there.
The Monat boys are Cream Team. I'm just going east side.
Yeah.
On each side, but overall, I think the bottom team in this division, who's going to finish last, are the Pats.
First of all, I think 2.5 Dans have to go through Sportira to get their uniforms.
Yeah, they got to get new jerseys.
Sportira, proud sponsor of the FPF.
Danny Mac needs to call Fresh MTL and get some nice sponsorship.
I believe they're from St. Leo. St. Leo, are they not? To Laval?
They're Laval.
Yeah, they're not far from here.
Chamonix.
It's in lovely downtown Anjou over here.
Lovely downtown Anjou. There's nothing lovely about Anjou.
Yeah, there's Sportira.
I'm lovely, and I'm in Anjou.
That's right. You live 5
You're
minutes
Anjou
away.
sur le lac. It's different.
That's true.
Yeah, Anjou sur le lac.
All right.
What's your jail?
What's your address again?
No, not doing that.
We can go right afterwards. Looking at the East, 2.5 Dans, slow start against the Zoo. They were down 15, end up winning by double the score here.
Grinders.
I just wonder if that can carry over. That Joey Taylor's a great quarterback.
It's going to carry over. 2.5 Dans always carry over. They always make.
He had an overhead through like a soccer
It doesn't
throw
matter.
in. It was
doesn't
crazy.
Matter. It doesn't matter. They're the funnest team to watch. They're the most unpredictable team to watch in this entire division, entire league. 1 to 6, 8 to A, B, C, D, E.
And we've been questioning him forever, but he keeps getting it done.
And he gets in the
Yes,
playoffs,
he
man. And he
does.
gets in the playoffs. That's all
and
that
throws
matters.
50 touchdowns, by the way.
50.
50 touchdowns.
He's
last
like
season.
Tim
I
Tebow with
bet you-
accuracy.
I'll tell you this. Give me Marek Kerouac right back here. If I ask him to tell me who Joey Taylor is, he doesn't know who he is. If I ask him to name me one receiver on 2.5 downs, he doesn't know who they are, but yet they make the playoffs every single year. What's more impressive?
I don't think Kerouac knows there's a Div C beyond Div
Yeah,
A
I don't
and
think
B.
Kerouac knows anything except for himself in this league.
Punisher, that's a dark horse team.
Yeah, I think
Dark
so
horse team. The Morin boys are really good.
MBB. And
They,
his other brother's name is CBB.
yeah, they
SBB. Another SBB. No, okay, no.
showed me a lot in that game against Cream Team. It's gonna be a fun division. I think we'll talk about wins afterwards here, but I think 7 might be enough to win this division. Again,
think
how
so.
close it is.
I think you're going to have to.
A West Division, Longhorns, No Fly Zone, Killer Instinct, Top Citizens, West Park Boys, Hitman Retro, served with heat.
No, I do not like this division at all. This
It's
is
a
a very
really
weak division.
mishmash.
There's 2 teams, and then there's the rest. And the 2 teams are No Fly Zone and Longhorns. Longhorns are an older team, but they have players like Rob Allen. You have guys like Aggie. John Moody is a quarterback. Very good team. And then you got No Fly Zone, who I'm probably going to pick. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, George Michael. So I'm taking no Fly Zone to probably take this division for sure.
Longhorns, speaking to the team after the victory on Sunday, this is their most complete team. They go 2 deep at each position right now with what
Yeah.
they have on the roster. So this is like a team that, on paper, looks really good, and it showed in their victory on Sunday.
Of course.
I like them a lot, though. They do a lot of that run and shoot offense. They play tenacious on defense here. I like them in this division here. Hitman Retro, I think, will rebound somehow. They'll be in the middle of the pack, if not in the upper tier of that division. Serve with Heat, no. They looked ugly.
I don't see
Ugly
it.
uniforms, they looked ugly
I don't see
on
it.
Sunday. Top seasons. Backup quarterback, they won.
Yeah, it's not, what's his name? It was Justin Julian that played, I think, right?
Yeah, Justin Julian played, and
The regular quarterback. I forgot his name now, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I just don't know about this team. They're
Who did they
younger.
add? Who did they add? They added Akeem Hoyt-Charles,
Yes.
Mr.
Hakeem.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Mr. Talks Too Much. Mr.
Yeah.
Talks to the girls on the sideline instead of making catches, drops the ball. And
Well,
plays
it's
it on
more
his
like
quarterback.
talking to me on the
Talking to you on
sidelines.
the sideline.
Yeah, than
Well,
girls.
You're like a woman.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, they added a lot of speed, I guess, but I'm not on this team. I say Top Citizen finishes 6th in this division, right ahead of
Oh,
Killer.
wow.
Yeah, right ahead of Killer
They
Killer
have one
Instinct.
win. They have a win already now.
They have a win already. I don't see them beating NFZ. I don't see them beating Longhorns. They can even fall to Hitman Retro with experience because talking does not get into Carmine's head. That's for sure.
Commerce B, East, Team Ethnic, Primetime, Pres Light, Keyport Lock, Game Changers, Dams 25-8. On paper, this is probably the toughest division.
I think it is too. Game Changers, Preds Light, Team Ethnic, Primetime. I didn't know who to put in the division top here. I took Primetime. I'm a big fan of Primetime this season.
They look good.
They look
really
really
good.
Overall. I mean, the Dawood brothers. Dave has really stepped up his game, man.
All the Daws.
All of them.
They played well, and they played with controlled rage.
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
I do. And then you have Mike Zanobi on the team. I mean, Mike Zanobi. We'll
And
talk
it's
about it
Cherries
later.
as well.
Sorry.
It's Cherries, the brothers as well.
It's Cherries, exactly. Yeah. Mike Zanobi. I'll talk about him later. Very underrated. Not a lot of people know who this is. I call him Spray Tan.
Team Ethnic, they'll be a dark horse team. They really have. They've come out there and like last winter season, they pulled the upset.
Yeah.
If they're able to play like they did in the playoffs, they'll make a lot of games tough for opponents.
I have Team Ethnic finishing 4th in this division.
Really?
But it's close. Like I said, top 4 teams. So I got Primetime at 1, Game Changers at 2, Keyport Lock at 3 because I got a hard on for them, and Team Ethnic at 4.
Dams 25-8. Jalen Granison, all these guys, they're all athletes. All athletes.
Doesn't
here.
matter. They're not going to be able to handle 6th, last place in this division.
They were outclassed though by Primetime.
I'm giving them maybe 2 wins this year.
2 wins. So over under 1.5, you give them 2 wins. Okay.
Yeah.
In the West Division, don't forget tweet us Terry Tam FPF.
3rd time's the charm.
Success. Mocon19, of course, at Flag Plus, hashtag the word FPF here at Sportier Cages.
Wait, I just want to mention that Rayhan Star Wars in the house right here.
Oh, he's from season 1, 2008, right?
Season 1008? Season 1005. When there was no podcast.
Anyway, lost my train of thought here. The West Division, Snatchers, STL, GNR, Top Sauce, KGP, LBB, The Brotherhood. And by the way, in the West, there are 2 divisions of 7, so there's more teams than this side of the conference.
Okay, so I'm just going to start from the bottom here, okay? So LBB last. I'm looking at LBB last.
They had to get uniforms from Sportira.
They have to get uniforms.
They have
too.
to.
I mean, man, that he needs his.
It's like a chime, like you hear in school when, you know.
Mean that like that.
He's a good player, though. I like
He's a very
him.
good player.
Very
Awesome.
good player.
Awesome. I have them finishing 7th. I have Brotherhood finishing 6th.
Is that because of the quarterback?
It might be a little bit because of the quarterback. I just think that this division is very strong. You have teams like Top Sauce, very experienced. I can't read your writing. Natizen.
That's PZ. Puzzles is a girlfriend.
She live tweeted. She said,
Put
Mo,
your phone away.
Yeah, put your phone away. You look like a girl waiting for him
To call. Emphasis on the him.
yes, I am.
So I'm
I go
going
green with my
GNR is going to
papers.
win this division. STL finishing 2nd. Top Sauce, GM finishing 3rd.
GNR.
If they had me on the team, they finish 1st though.
GNR, will they run away with this division, though?
I think they're going to run away with this division. Yeah.
I think KGP can give them a run.
Yeah, they can probably squeeze a couple wins, but
I think they could.
they're finishing 4th.
Not can. Could.
They're going to finish 4th in this division and not make the playoffs. That's just going to happen.
Top Sauce.
It all depends on Vinny Boom Bats, man. If Vinny Boom Bats can get it done, I mean, you have Mercil on your team, right? Who else you got? You have Mercil. You
Marcel.
got Bertoldi. Maxime Giroux. Bertoldi, if he didn't play in a hard division, I would nominate him for two-way player of the year right now. Give him the award. Like that's how good he is. They have the weapons around him. Vinny Boom Bats has to just keep it simple. Don't do anything special. Keep it simple. Give the ball to the right guys.
It's like a marathon here.
Yeah.
GNR is your guy that's way ahead of the pack, and the pack will just eat each other up, and then maybe one will come out with 3 or 4 wins, 5 wins.
I got Snatchers finishing 5th, but they can easily jump that 3rd spot if they play well.
Oh, God.
They play well enough.
You don't think so? No.
Why not?
No.
All right, cool.
Who's,
Whatever.
who's throwing for them?
There's one specific reason.
Yeah,
Oh,
who's
what?
throwing for them?
And it's the arm, the grenader himself,
The Grenader,
Simon Dagenet.
Simon Dagenet. But Simon Dagenet played well last season.
This game he played awful, they still won.
Exactly.
Because Vinny Nardone didn't play well.
Exactly. But they have a win in the
Yeah, but
division.
you don't have Vinny Nardone playing
They
every
have a
week
win
against
in the
them.
division.
By the way, if Vinny Nardone and Simone Dagenet went 10 weeks straight of playing each other, would it be split down the middle?
No, it'd be
Puzzles?
It'll be 7.
I think so. I think so. I
It'll
think
be
that would be fair to
7-3
say. But I have a question
It
for
was
you, Mo.
7-3.
Yes.
No, 7-2-1.
7-2-1?
Nardone. Boom Bats.
It was the first game of the year, by the way.
Yeah, but you guys are good, though.
Yeah.
Yes, Puzzles.
My question is, if Simon Dagenet and Vince Nardone had a child together,
Ah.
what would he look like? Or
Steve
what would she look
Stamkos. He would look like Steven Stamkos.
like? I agree.
Yeah.
Oddly like Steve Stamkos.
Like a weird version of Steven Stamkos.
like the one no one talks to.
Exactly,
Just hangs out in the corner.
Yeah. Like the 13th forward.
How many teams will go undefeated this year?
I'm going to say 1, and if I don't think there's going to be any teams, but if I have to say 1, it's going to either be no-fly zone or GNR. GNR have a tough division, so I don't know if they'll be able to do it, but no-fly zone will probably be it.
By the way, I'd hate to see that wrist shot come out 5th.
Oh,
at
yeah.
that point.
Oh,
That would
man.
be
The
weird.
Grenadier wrist
Imagine,
shots?
yeah, Grenadier wrist shot.
It's like
Weird, man. Weird motion.
like a
Well,
over-the-top wrist
you're
shot.
asking for Tommy John surgery. You're asking for Simon Dagg surgery.
That's
right
become
there.
very popular, Tommy John surgery now,
very.
baseball
There's like
pitchers.
45 guys in the last 2
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
Maybe we should all get Tommy John.
I ordered one. I'm on a waiting list. It should be a little while.
You have to
of
be able
mail.
to know how to throw to be able to get Tommy John surgery.
How
think it'll
many
help.
teams will go winless? In the-
I'm going to say 1. I'm going to go Damps. You're going to say Snatchers?
you have a win.
I said Damps 2 wins, right? Oh, they have a win already. Shoot, my bad. But I said if there's a team, because looking at this, looking at the questions, I would have said if there was a team that beats preseason, I would have said Damps because they have a tough schedule.
I think, man, it's tough, man. I'm gonna go. You know what?
I don't think so, man. I think everybody's going to win a game. It's really tough to say no one's going to win, especially when you're Div C. If you're in Div C, that means you have enough athletes, enough players that know the game well enough
Right.
to be able to sneak a win, right?
Right. Yeah. This is the question you brought up to me in our prep here.
Yeah.
Which team should be in Div B? I think GNR could have been in Div B.
I think GNR could have been in Div B. They wouldn't have done well at all in Div B.
But I think they would have been a stern opponent, though.
I think Laval's Finest might have squeaked into Div B as well.
Yeah.
Rob Mashtub is a very good quarterback, but he's playing Div B already.
I love that name, Rob Mashtub.
Mashtub.
You know, I call his brother Connor McDavid.
Why is that?
He's waiting to play, right?
Are you comparing him to Connor McDavid?
Hey, Connor McDavid. Why you call me that? Well, you're the next great one, right? You're coming out to the games.
More like Conor McGregor playing hockey. What the hell, man?
Maybe.
That's a UFC little. stat right
Yeah, I
there.
know.
Yeah. So I would say GNR would probably, or GNR and Laval's Finest. That's it. And who shouldn't be?
In Div D.
Who should be in Div D? Pats, top season, served with heat, and Damps.
I want to give them props for coming up in Div C, but it's
Who's
like,
this?
man, like all these
All
teams
these
you
teams,
listed, but it's tough, man. Like, I don't know if this is going to improve them for winter.
No, it
I
won't.
don't see that happening.
No,
I
I
think
saw that.
they'll be competitive, but they just won't be a team where they go into winter season, whichever division they choose,
Yeah,
that they're going to do it. So anyway.
I agree.
Don't forget, Terry Tam FPF at Mocha19. The Sportier Cage is here. Our new studio set up here. We love it. Music in the background. Wayne in the Wings GM and Mr. Puzzles himself.
Puzz. The Puzz.
Puzzles is telling me, is that a point up to the 6 minutes? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Puzzles. Thank you, Puzzles.
Shout out to the camera, Puzz. I'm going to call you Bubbles from now on.
All right, looking at East Division, how many wins to win East Division? We'll go with
In each division?
Yeah, Conference A East.
I'm going to say 7 wins. 7. Conference A West as well.
I think West is gonna be 6.
West is going to be 6. It's close. You're going to have one top team, and then you're going to have the rest. I mean, I don't see, like I said, there's Longhorns, NFC, then the rest.
Conference B East.
Conference B, I'm going 6. Conference B East, I'm going 6. For sure.
It's gonna be close. I
It's
think
going to be tough.
7.
Prime time will probably squeak in 8. Preds Light, maybe they'll get a couple. Keyboard will finish 6, and they'll maybe finish 2nd or 3rd in that division.
We both agree West is JNR to lose 9. Well, they're gonna win. I think they'll have like 8
It's tough,
wins.
man. I mean, you can if Jamie Harry has a good season, Brotherhood can easily, not easily, but they can probably take this division. I mean,
He
it can
put
go
on-
anywhere.
Terry, he went no glasses for the first 85% of that game. Puts on his
touchdowns.
glasses and he throws a deep ball touchdown.
Weird. Get some contacts, bro.
Yeah, I know.
For sure, get some contacts.
QB of the year,
Or maybe they wear those Dexter Coakley glasses.
or the Horace Grant.
Horace Grant, not Dexter
Yeah.
Coakley.
Quarterback of the year in your mind is who?
I mean, I had to look at this deep because there's a lot of quarterbacks that play in higher divisions. I'm either going Vinny G for GNR, Anton Sakis for Game Changers. I even threw Awaski in there because he has a lot of weapons for him to get to that award.
Your boy Latin Hustle, yeah. Receiver of the year.
Matt Monat or Eddie the Latin Hustle
Monat's
Martinez.
off to a fast start.
Monat's awesome, man.
He scored a crazy touchdown, and he walked in literally on the DB. He
Yeah,
caught it, DB stopped running, and he just walked right by him into the end zone. Defensive player of the year.
Mike Zanobi or Rob Allen.
Zanobi.
No, sorry, my bad. I'm going to go Terrence Dobson or Yvar Shrafi.
If Dobbs is healthy, though.
If Dobson is healthy.
2A of the year.
Two-way player of the year, I'm going to go Mike Zanobi or Rob Allen.
Rob Allen, monster. Made some sick
Very good
catches
player.
on Sunday's
Great
victory.
guy as well.
Really nice team. Again, this Longhorn team, loaded. They're too deep at each position.
Longhorn's great, man.
This is a team on paper, and they were telling me
They've never won,
afterwards.
have they?
They've gone far.
They've gone far. I know they've gone to the finals. I don't think they've
Yeah.
ever won GM. Never gone to the finals?
This is a loaded
Okay.
team. This is a very good team.
They lost in the semis there.
Very good team. They got new uniforms on top of that. All right, picks. Very nice uniforms.
Sports here?
New uniforms.
They should be. Yeah, they can.
Picks, picks of the week here. Go with the first game here. Team Ethnic Primetime.
Prime time.
7.5 points for
Prime
Primetime.
time.
I think they're going to double that.
You're going to double 7.5 points? So
Yeah.
You think that you set the freaking
That's my favorite part of your shows, Mo. You set the line and
set
then
the line,
and then make a pick.
and then you
Well,
double the
I
line.
figure you go under out, and I'll be like, hey, I'll go with the
I'm going
over the top.
I'm going prime time, and we're going to keep record of these. I want to know how
All
much
right.
I'm going to win at.
Top seasons, Longhorns. The Horns, 5.5 point favorites.
I'm going to go Longhorns
Are they covering?
to cover 5.5. Yeah,
I agree. Damps 25-8. Game Changers. Changers 3.5
man,
points.
give me 10 points on this one. I'll even go
Really?
up. I'll give 10 points going Game Changers GC. That's a little asterisk there. So
Give
if
me
I
Damps.
if I get that Game Changers at 10 points, you give me 2 wins. Deal? Deal? Okay, cool. 2.5 Dans versus Punishers.
2.5 points for the Dans.
For 2.5 points, I'm going to go Dans on this one as well.
I'm going Punishers. If the Punishers play like they did during the week and the Dans played how they did in the first half, Punishers are going to beat them.
Yeah, I agree.
Predictions, finals prediction. Who you have playing and who on August 8th?
Okay, I'm going Longhorns against. I'm going Longhorns against Primetime.
Longhorns, GNR.
Primetime beating GNR in the semis, and Longhorns beating NFZ.
I got Longhorns, GNR, and GNR will be doing the double this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, winter and spring.
Winter and spring. Cool.
What did you learn in today's episode?
I learned that you don't know my Twitter handle.
I do. I just mistaken it for something else.
There's another Terry of PF. I had no idea.
Puzzles. What did you learn in today's episode?
Life in a cage is far less oppressive than I thought it would be.
That's imminent.
Okay, Eagle, what did you learn in today's episode?
I learned that my graphics are resizing themselves automatically, and I have to figure out why.
Okay.
Can we have the picture?
Nobody knows what that means.
Can we have the picture of this podcast to be a picture of Nardone original team, but in laptop sauce like his old one? Top sauce.
Coming up
Speak
next.
to our graphic designer.
Coming up next, Puzzles, you and GM are next.
I'm gonna stick around because they're gonna talk about me.
You can promote your show, my friend.
Yeah, we're going to be on with Calling the Audible, the flagship show of the Flag Plus network.
Is
of
that
podcasts.
Weekly Extra Point Live, my friend. Weekly Extra Point Live. I got your back.
Wait, hold on here. The flagship show from what? Winter season 2015? Is that the flagship? This is the new.
Weekly Extra Point Live. I remember that.
Yeah.
You, Rayanne, and
It's
Ross.
the Montreal's finest
You,
of
Rayanne, and you
podcasts.
shall not name.
Well, after that week 1 performance by the Finest, I'm not too sure you want to be that.
Can
All
we,
right.
Can we replace Pease with like JP Mancini?
We could. We're back here next week.
I vote for it.
Week 2 coming up. Stay tuned for the flagship show, Calling Audible with GM and Puzzles. Here at the Sportier Cage.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to and watching Calling the Audible, the flagship show of the FPF Podcast Network. I am Pease Delariz. I am joined in studio by, joined with
We sound like twins.
GM Calethris. Of course, you can follow GM at GMCole44. You can follow me at PeaseFPF. Remember that you can tweet the show live by tweeting us at EagleFPF, and he will transmit your messages just like Mo transmits when he's not careful. You can follow him at MoCon19, and he is, of course, our producer, the Slow Con himself. We are in our new home at Sportira in the cage, in Sportira Cage. Of course, if you're looking for a new jersey, they are the official supplier of jerseys to Flag Plus Football. Welcome, GM. How have you been?
I've been pretty good, actually. I learned that 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 soccer is a sport. It's really cool.
I don't even know if soccer is a sport, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true, but of possibly a sport, there
Yes,
exists 3-on-3
I would say
and
more
4-on-4.
so. Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to remind our listeners and viewers, of course, if you're watching, this is the 7th season of Calling the Audible. The original podcast, of course, is perennially the highest rated podcast, as well as the podcast with the smartest audience. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening.
Humble brag.
So muted. That's awesome right there. Remember when we started this up in my basement and we had a Rock Band microphone?
This is a slight upgrade. Slight upgrade, Eagle. Absolutely, our first season was interesting. Rock Band mic was our only piece of equipment. We've since grown by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, so you can actually see all the equipment.
I think there's a photo of me that exists sprawled out on the couch, just like recording while looking very risque.
And too close to me. Absolutely, absolutely. But we've come full circle, and here we are. I don't know if it's a full circle or half circle, either way. Terry, of course, dropping some important knowledge on some of the upcoming games. So GM, just to because everyone's first listen might be their first listen ever to the podcast. Our first one would be someone's first show ever. You won 2 championships. You currently play for Top South.
Top South in Division C.
Division C, and a team that we will discuss a little bit later. Formerly teamless.
Correct amount of formerly is used. Thank you.
Absolutely, FFFT, as I will start to write in my article, because just writing your team name just destroys my autocorrect. But before we get into
copy paste is your friend. Just copy one formerly. And
we will talk about your team, of course, later in the show. But I do want to talk about some of the games that happened this week. PMS, part of my swag, beat the Hooligans 31-25. Chris Olsen in his return throws 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looked good, but it wasn't quite enough. What will he need for to give the Hooligans a shot moving forward?
Jeff Brown. I think it's very apparent that the emotional leader of this team, the player with the most FPF experience, the most higher division experience, was missing from this game. And I think having that going forward, just having that calming voice in the huddle, having a playmaker you know you can throw the ball to, having someone who can call the defense effectively will be a good way for this team to move forward and really progress.
A couple of seasons ago in Division D, Chris Olsen had a great season, throwing 35 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Regressed in his next season. Do you think, which Chris Olsen do you think we'll see this season?
I think that this Division D and when he first started playing are of similar talent levels and depth. He doesn't have higher end talent like Michael Milerich, but has good supporting cast that can lead him through. It all depends on how active he's been in the offseason since venturing away from FPF.
For part of my swag, Patrick P. Lutz seems to be the number 1 guy. Do you think he's a true number 1 receiver? We saw in this game he had 5 catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Do you think he can be the number 1 receiver? Or are they lacking explosiveness?
Without a doubt. Having seen them play preseason, seeing the dynamic that he has with Brad Evans, the fact that Brad Evans can just toss the ball up and know Patrick will be there for him to come down with the pass speaks volumes of that. They work really. They have a dynamic that works really well together. A lot of routes are called that get different receivers open, but they know how to really use Patrick's velocity, his speed, his route running, and his football IQ to their advantage. So I think he's definitely poised to be one of the number 1 receivers on the team.
Part of my swag has an experienced quarterback in Brad Evans. They have a lot of talent overall. Good defense. Patrick Pilat, who we just finished talking about. My thought has been that they've lacked an X factor, and I thought that even last season with Jonathan Grizzly on the team, now I think more so that there's still missing a key piece going on the line. Do you think that's the case, or do you think I'm completely off base?
I know that you always want to have a number 2 who complements your number 1. On this team, I think it's Olivier Dussault. Brad has great faith in him. He's got great speed, great hands, fantastic defensive awareness as well. If you watch him run routes, his catches are always full extension. It doesn't matter you try and overthrow him. It's not possible. He's not lanky, but will still come down with the ball at a moment's notice and is really deceiving when you look at him.
In another game we'll talk about, a result that made me really happy and it would bring me to full extension, so to speak. The Tyrants beat the DG Goons 21-6. The Tyrants are one of the teams that I've talked about for seasons that I wanted them to return to previous days when they were a front runner in the lower divisions. That's a good start. We see George Nick Taras throwing 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. I've always liked them with Chris Kaliosakis at quarterback, John Kaliosakis at quarterback. Do you feel that this is the best use of the Tyrants personnel, seeing this result, or do you feel this is sort of a one-off game?
I'm not really certain. We were always of the opinion that the Tyrants' talent levels seemed to stagnate and the league sort of evolved around them. And it seems like now they're starting to adapt as well. What I like about Nick Taras compared to Kaliosakis, we did perceive as being the better quarterback, but George always comes in with a certain confidence and a certain leadership that he drives the team forward, whereas it always seems like John Kaliosakis comes in only as a last resort and seems to be consistently put behind the 8 ball. And you even see they have their shoulders slumped. They know that when Kaliosakis is instead of Nick Taras, they're already losing and things need to be turned around. So
Go ahead, yeah.
So long as Nick Taras is playing well, considering they came out of the gates really well against DG Goons, who I guess are in a sophomore slump, it's good news for the Tyrants.
I agree. Although I don't know if it's quite the sophomore year for DG Goons being their third season. I think that makes it their juniors.
Yes.
But we got a bit of info in from our producer Slow Khan. He mentioned, of course, that the Tyrants last season were really banged up, played with a lot of different players. I actually did a breakdown of sort of their past season glory and past season failings in a preseason article. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so. Of course, the article can be found on our website, www.flagplusfootball.com. And of course, if you're on our website, you will see that we are sponsored by Sportira, whose cage we are currently rattling and doing our podcast in. You mentioned DG Goons. Chris Pendenza struggled mightily in week 1. He went 7 for 24, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, reversing Nick Taras' stats. What's up with this?
I think a lot of this I'm going to take away from what you're going to bring up as well, but we'll use it as a segue in a transition. I think a lot of it did have to do with the relentless physical pressure of Phil Djokovic rushing him. I'm very happy to see that the Tyrants have really found a rusher that complements their style of play.
It's funny because they seem to have a new rusher each
Yeah,
season.
you know they were doing poorly when they had me rushing for them.
Exactly, yeah.
They were able to turn things around. Humble brag, I had a decent season with them, but it's not going to even compare to what Phil Djokovic is going to do. They have him, especially with Carl Balafi being missing week 1, they have him as an option for center. He's a fantastic rusher, great
Definitely
receiver as well.
Player,
very, very versatile player.
So you kind of answered my question, how big is the pickup of Phil Djokovic? Huge,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think he's one of these non-household names, bound to become one very soon. We got a note in from Slokan. He says the Goons. Just go ahead.
Well, guys, speaking to the Goons before their first game, they were they got over the bitterness of the loss of Jagger Bombs in winter season, and they feel very confident that they will have a great season this spring, and hopefully closing out and potentially winning or going to the finals this spring and on August 8th later on this year.
Absolutely. I think good things are to come either way. I don't think we'll see this kind of result moving forward. I think DG Goons will be just fine. Derek Fontana is another guy I like to mention just because a lot of players in the league don't know him, but he's an absolutely awesome receiver. Jim Clethers points to himself because he is in fact the discoverer of Derek Fontana, of his own opinion.
Of my own opinion, yes.
We have Warhawks beating Junkyard Dogs 35-25. In my article, I kind of called out Fred Millette. He answered the bell. He answered the challenge. He said he put up there 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. My question is to you: is this a question of Millette finally having the talent around him, or was it just going up against a team moving up in divisions, not yet finding themselves?
I think it's kind of this middle ground right now. Millette played quarterback in Division B. Mm-hmm. Admittedly, they didn't do well. They did incredibly poorly. But he faced off week in, week out against Division B caliber defenses.
When was this, though?
This was last spring.
It was last spring.
Yes, it was.
Of course.
With that in mind, considering the receiving core he has with Galapam, the great uniforms as per Mokan, he really had no
The
excuses.
uniforms, of course, made at Sportira.
Correct. You really have no excuses. You've gotten from facing Division B caliber defenses to Division D. You're going to do well, or something seriously wrong.
And just so we're all on the same page, this is not the same Warhawks from years past, right?
No.
Yes,
Correct.
this isn't the Warhawks team in past seasons that featured
Tim O'Hara,
Tim
Joel.
O'Hara as quarterback.
Yeah, Brian Martin
the
post-
awesome dual glasses.
Brian Martin just
Awesome.
posted on the
Brian
Facebook
Martin,
wall.
that's what you're
Brian Martin,
thinking
that's the dude. The Horace Grant of FPF.
Joe Watson. Joe Watson's mom, who's famous for getting an OC on the bench.
That's awesome.
The first, but not the last spectator to get an OC
That's
on the
true.
bench.
Definitely not last. Unfortunately, not last. But still, I think this is one of the best receiving cores in the division. So if Millet can play at a Division B caliber, which we hadn't seen from him, but if he can play above his
If
division,
he can take
essentially,
what he learned.
absolutely, then this was definitely a front runner in this division. For Junkyard Dogs, I think that Jason Rossi found himself a new BFF. Shane Jackson, 7 catches, half of what he caught all of last season. Do you think that he is the main target, or was just coverage dictating the flow of the offense?
I think it is. He may have a new BFF, as you say, a target like that. Having Kokolakis, being able to spread the ball between those two players is huge. You know that Jason Rossi likes to have a player that he just likes to send deep and throw up a prayer to every time and letting his receiver do the work. It seems that he's getting that dynamic with Jackson right now. It's fantastic for the both of them because it fits the team's dynamic as well. When that's not available, they can run that halfback play to Julien Lefebvre, Bob, as they call him.
No,
I don't
not
get
that.
it either.
Yeah, no one does.
It's more of the same with them, and I think it's going to work in this division.
Of course, Slocon is mentioning to us that James Toriani was coaching him up on the sidelines.
Well, he's coached them in years past. So he's
Yeah.
always been a
He's
mentor.
also played with them.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's right. So he's always helped them out in some sort
And
of
anytime
form.
you get a quarterback, a guy who's played quarterback at a high level like James Floriani, whether or not you like him, like for example, I think he's completely overrated, but he definitely can help in Division D, and definitely I think Jason Rossi can take a lot from that. Should Junkyard Dogs be worried after this Week 1 loss?
Not at all. I think this is such a close division right now. There's a lot of parity. We don't see that sort of upper echelon and lower echelon of teams. We haven't even come close to discussing that right now because we all agree there were very few blowouts throughout the Week 1. Those that were either new teams or teams without a full roster. So we're of the opinion right now that with the cap system in place, with seeing the difference between, say, that there is no top tier and bottom tier, it's just close games where one team stood out and won over the other.
Agreed. So this is the part of the show where we would typically take a break and listen to the wonderful music stylings of Taylor Swift. But unfortunately,
I got a blank space, baby.
As it is Week 1 and we're working out the kinks, we're going to get into the next segment. But before we do, I want to remind everyone, of course, you're listening to Calling the Audible on our YouTube channel. Of course, it's www.youtube.com/FlagPlus. Of course, if you don't know that, I don't know how you're listening to.
Did you just say backslash?
Backslash.
You
That-
did. It is 1990
It
again.
is 1990
You can even
once
put
again.
in the HTTP
You probably
colon.
can. You probably can. I am old, GM, and of course, you can chirp me about how old I am by tweeting me at PeasFPF. If you want to tweet the show live, you can tweet our technical director, the Eagle at Master Control at EagleFPF. If you want to tweet GM just to tell him how lovely his eyebrows are.
Or we could discuss 90s computer references, whether you used AOL or Netscape Communicator.
One of us has mail. But of course, because we would prefer that you do it on Twitter and not by email, you can do that at GMCole44. Remember, you can hashtag FPF for all your FPF desires, dreams, hopes, and fears. And you can tweet Mokan, because no one else does, at Mokan19. He is Slocon, our producer in the cage here at Sportira. GM, I want to look at some of my preseason ratings that you completely disagreed with for the most part. I want to look at some of the teams that I sort of talked about and maybe put in the wrong categories. I said, for example, PMS. I said, well, of course, part of
They
my
will
swag-
attract some bears.
They will attract bears at least once a month. I just don't see it with this team. Do you think I'm way off base? Do you think they're better than I gave them credit for? Go ahead.
I think this is one of the teams right now, I alluded to it before, where they have a certain team dynamic, they have faith in each other. This is one of the teams that are very chemistry-based that will win games. Similar to, say, Global Gym Purple Cobras, who are still kind of learning that, but they all have a core that's played together throughout the different dynamics. They're players who are comfortable with each other, know where each other are going to be at a moment's notice. I think that they're going to make a push and really surprise some more, say, athletic or powerhouse teams in the division.
Absolutely. I think, honestly, my thing with them has always been that when it comes to big games, they don't have that number one guy you can rely on, the Steph Curry, who can go and make a sick layup like we just saw in replay. I'm not watching the game instead of listening to you at all. But to me, they're missing that big playability. So there just always seems to be a little piece missing, and I think that's true of them this season as well. Another team that I just don't see doing well after struggling in a winter season in a division I thought was weaker than Division D, Hot Boys Hotline. Put your personal bias aside and tell me, do you think I am off base when I say
I'm somewhere on the fence right now. I think it's going to take consistency to sway me. They came up with a great play call, using Vadim Cherniak as their center, knowing that not a lot of centers in FPF can run routes the way Vadim does, and having him as your go-to receiver on a corner route on the last play of the game is fantastic.
But you're saying you wouldn't send me on a corner route?
Correct. I would never, ever, ever send you on a corner route with the game on the line.
Never, absolutely.
So having that versatility at the center position is huge. Bryden Streeter is going to smoke a lot of DBs in Division D especially.
And he's going to confuse a lot of quarterbacks. He's an incredible defender. He just has, for a guy who never played, he has an incredible feel for the game.
But things that, so those are things in the positive for me as well. However, poor time clock management. We've mentioned Malcolm Archer in the past. Malcolm Archer, who was the sack leader last spring, faced off against a brand new QB in Division D and could not touch him. And I think it's testament to see as this team moves up, they stop being a big fish in a little pond and starting to see actual competition. And this is where it's going to differ a little bit to see if they can hold ground.
Absolutely. A team that I put in the prove me wrong category because I thought Terry Tam would have trouble adjusting to playing in somewhat of a higher division. I put Wolfpack in there. I didn't think Terry can just chuck up balls to his tall receivers, but getting a win in week 1.
Yeah.
So do you think I'm wrong by putting them in that category?
I have no idea. He left, so I thought he was going to sit here and listen to us for a little bit, but he left, so I can be candid. He's of the he's a product of his teammates to a certain extent. Darren will certainly agree with me because he's looking at me right now.
Yeah, Darren Basbaracco walking in.
Yeah, exactly. But like having players like Bradley Augustin, Michael Cafe, Jakub Telemac, all Terry has to do is put faith in his receivers. Receivers.
That was awesome.
To make the play.
Yeah.
And I think it'll come down to really challenging him. No, Telemac is not the second QB.
On strength throws, he does have an opportunity to throw.
Well, he'll use him as that halfback or the directional snap.
I'm not sure with Mokan's
You have a mic.
You can just
you
tell
have
us
a mic.
what you're thinking. Mike.
For you. The mic was off center with you.
Ah,
when we were
cool.
talking.
Okay.
That was a technical direction from producer Slokan. No, I can see that. I still have questions about Terry. He had to pull himself out of a playoff game. That was the last time we saw him throw before coming into the season. That's why I had some doubts. I still have doubts. Terry, you can't play. You're no good. Just give up the reins to Yakub. That's all we have.
I have a question for you guys. PZ, if you were in Terry's position as a Wolfpack quarterback, would you do better than he did?
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. My only issue was I never had the receivers.
Okay. No. You say you never have the receivers, but you come from a very speed-based system where Terry, all he has to do is put it up and have a receiver who's over
honestly,
6'5" catch the ball.
I'm kidding just because I like to rag on Terry. Honestly, I don't think I would do nearly as well. Terry is a very, very capable player, but I think that as you move up in divisions, it takes a little bit more than just chucking a ball So I think as we move forward, I don't see them winning more than three or four games. Let's call it 2.
Especially since they play both of us.
Yeah, seriously. No, I don't do they play us?
That's 2 wins right there for Terry.
Sorry?
That's 2 wins for Terry.
2 wins for Terry. T for T.
FFFT.
Yeah. So one before that, I put a team, Backyard Bullies, in my power rankings at 5. I got the impression when we spoke, you thought I put them a little high. Are you still that opinion? Having seen the roster and having seen the play out the first week, seen that they took a loss.
A decent amount of it does come down to A, the cap system in Division D, and B, they've got some players who are injured. They've lost some players as well. I think the loss of Steve Sanner is going to hurt them volumes. Steve Sanner is one of the best two-way players in Division 3, Division 4. So that loss is going to speak volumes. However, I don't think it's going to be the end of them. I think they're going to need to regroup. They might find some hidden talent, some hidden gem, just like they did last year, to really propel them forward. It's going to be difficult. They're not going to be as dominant as they have been in past seasons, but we don't rule them out just yet.
Fair. I'm still on the fence. I still believe. I'm a big fan. I've always liked Backyard Bullies, so I'd like to see them do well. Just not when we play against them. But I honestly, when looking at the rankings, I still think they're a top 5 team. I'm hoping the first week was just an aberration, and we'll see them back to form in the second week.
Speaking of first week aberrations,
a team that I put at heartbreak. Now, here's the thing. It's not that I think your team go.
No, I'm just mimicking your hand motions, and I forgot we're on radio right now.
Yeah, exactly. A good 60% of our audience can't see what you're doing. Of course, the audience being the highest rated audience.
And by audience, you mean listeners, since we're discussing.
Exactly. Well,
the flagship show of FPF.
Flagship.
Yes.
The flagship, absolutely. Slowcon finally learning his place.
Just to shout out the 5 people that are currently watching live right now. Shout out to you 5.
Is one of them my mom? Because I would believe that.
It's very possible.
It's very possible. Although it is past your bedtime. The thing is, I did put formerly teamless, or I like to call them formerly teamless, currently overrated, in the teams that will break your heart category. It's not that I think your team lacks talent. It's not your team. I think your team has issues at quarterback. It's just a whole bunch of choking all at once with John Brown and GM, your teams in recent seasons. I know you've won
The last time
championships.
there was this much choking, David Carradine was filming himself.
Wow, that's impressively awesome and terrible all at once.
I just realized, what are the name that you call it again? Formerly teamless, currently overrated?
That's the one.
Do you know there's TCO in that abbreviation?
There is TCO.
FTCO.
There we go. What I was going to say with that, though, is I don't think you're a bad team, but it's what I've said about your teams in past seasons. You guys always seem to break my heart. I always want nothing but success for you, yet you always drive me crazy
I love you.
and lose big games. And John Brown, who's quarterback of a team called Lobster Dinner, always seems to lose in big games. And Slowcon points out, John Brown replaced Jonathan Williams. Is this an upgrade? I think Jonathan Williams, at his best, is probably a better quarterback and has a better physical skill set, but I think John Brown is a more accomplished, not really accomplished, but just a better choice for an FPF quarterback. However, I want to see John win big games. I want to see you win big games. Don't break my heart. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So please tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Awesome. That's all I needed from you. GM, final thoughts.
Right now, I'm really excited for this division to unfold. I'm really excited to be able to start talking up players we haven't really seen in previous seasons, giving them the limelight, seeing... I mentioned that I don't think there's an upper echelon and lower echelon of this division, so I really like the idea that anyone can beat anyone in a week's time.
By the way, Rich Humes, who we all know very well, when he runs and passes the football, I'm talking about passing 150 yards and rushing over 50 yards. Check out the record. Very impressive. 5-1.
There's those Mocon stats we've been
That's
waiting
what we
for.
need. That's what we hired a producer who is not the Eagle. Well done, Slowcon. No, absolutely, and thank you for that. Is that your final thought on today's show?
Oh, sorry, Jim, carry on.
I didn't know we were wrapping up yet.
I asked you for your final thoughts.
No, you asked
We
me
have 2
for
minutes left in
everything.
the show, by the way.
All right, so final thoughts, GM.
Very excited. It's going to be a great season. Words.
Words. Words are words to live by because they are also, in fact, words themselves. Mocon, do you have any final thoughts?
I do. I think amongst the 5 divisions this year, this might be the closest one, the most unpredictable that will go. I think each week we'll see a different team step up to the plate. Could that carry over for multiple weeks? I'm not too sure.
Absolutely. If you've seen Mokan's Tinder messages, it'll be as unpredictable as that. Eagle, any final thoughts for you?
I guess just now that we're actually wrapping up week 1 of the Spring 15 podcast, I'm really digging this spot, actually. At first we were kind of a little hesitant of whether it was going to be good or not, but I'm really liking, you have the ambiance of the music in the background. You have a bunch of sweaty guys running around on a field in the back, too. We have some ambiance noise. We have Mokan. Well, that's not really a good thing, but...
Eagle's personal life and Sweaty Men notwithstanding, I got the pleasure of having the tour from Rob Piazza. He showed me all around Sportira earlier on today, so I got to see the sublimation process, the different FPF uniforms that have been created here. They're really awesome. Like, just even the different materials that you can choose from. I got both and I paid for them. I didn't get them comped at all. I'm not saying this because it's a plug. Both sets of my jerseys came from Sportira, and they're absolutely incredible.
That being said, I will use it as a segue to do my plug. And my going for 1, going for 2 this week, I will be going for 2. We've had a couple of situations this season already. Teams showing up with pockets. Guys, make sure that you have shorts that don't have pockets. If you do need shorts, you can buy the kit at Sportira. Of course, they are the official FPF supplier of jerseys and shorts. Remember that teams should have matching jerseys as the season moves on. We're a little more forgiving early this season as we are. We will tighten up the regulations as we move forward. If you do need a jersey, do hit up Sportira. And if you have got your jersey, remember to wear them with pride this week, as it is Picture Week. Everyone's favorite time of year. It's your chance to take a picture with your team. And remember, our site gets 2 million clicks a year, so you have a chance for 2 million men to see your picture. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for joining me on this week's podcast. I want to thank Rob Campana, President Rob Campana, for coming
Showing
by
up at the end
to make sure he fires me in person after the show. Eagle at Master Control, I want to thank you for all the wonderful work you've done tonight. And we got a live call in from Eagle. Slow Khan, thanks for all the work you've done today. Thanks, because I can't read stats, so I need you to do that for me. I appreciate it.
Stat of the week, PZ's 1-0 in podcasts on the flagship show.
Couldn't
Call Me
agree more.
Audible.
Thanks, Mo, for that, and thank you all for letting me be myself.